get signed in. Good. Sorry I missed the meeting yesterday. I was in the car. Huh? Texted me? You mean yesterday? About? Oh. I didn't have it on my calendar, I guess.
Y'all ready? Everybody up?
I'm getting there.
I now call to order this March 18th business meeting. Madam Treasurer, may we have a roll call?
President Goodwin,
Here.
Dr. Bailey, Mr. Lacey,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
He is walking in right now. Can you say here from there, please?
Ms. Reinhardt,
Present.
Mr. Walker,
Present.
Ms. Wick,
Present.
I'm gonna wait.
Mr. Scott. Was he? Okay. 7 present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower. Our vision is to inspire, educate, and empower scholars for a lasting impact, and our purpose is to cultivate a supportive and engaging educational experience. Dr. Lawrence, can you please tell us about district events this week?
Absolutely. Let's start off with, it's coming. The debate semifinal competition, Saturday, April 5th at Wright Brothers Middle School, starts at 8 o'clock. And I like to say the kids are going to look amazing. I think the Jackets are going to make it in. And this has been an experience. We started out months and months ago, so the debate used to be one day. Now we're building up to it, and I think it's going to be a really high-quality event, and looking forward to seeing everybody in the semifinals and in the finals. It's kind of like the NCAA tournament.
Thank you. Dr. Jones, you have special recognitions for us, and I believe we have some from Dr. Lawrence's team too. So the floor is yours, Dr. Jones, and would you like us to come down? Yes. Lay on there. All right, board members and team, can you all join us down?
Good evening. First, I would like to thank Madam President Dr. Goodwine and the entire school board for your leadership and governance of DPS. Much of what we do in the district would not be possible without you, so we thank you. Additionally, I want to thank Chief Jones, her athletic team, as well as Mindy Clark for weaving all of this together. At this junction tonight, we want to celebrate and recognize our student athletes who excel athletically and in the classroom. We celebrate athletic victories all the time. However, we haven't, I believe, celebrated our student athletes for their outstanding academic efforts and performance. The average GPA for a student athlete in Dayton Public Schools is a 2.7, while the average GPA of a non-athlete is a 2.2. Our student athletes, on average, have higher GPAs and exhibit behavior consistent with higher learning in our schools in comparison to students that do not participate in athletics or extracurricular activities. Therefore, this is a plug and a plea to get involved. If you're a teacher, administrator, staff member, parent, or guardian watching this board meeting, encourage as many students as you can to get active. We need you, and we need your talents and your efforts, students. The students standing here for their hard work and dedication on and off the fields and courts of competition, we want to reward them. Each student athlete here will receive a brand new MacBook Air Top academic awards, yes. Top academic awards. Correction. Yes. The students with the top academic GPAs, okay, seniors, will receive a MacBook Air, a plaque, and a certificate for their performance in the classroom. Students, you deserve this, and again, we are so, so very proud of you. At this time, I extend the floor to Chief Jones.
We didn't know Dr. Jones was a comedian, so we had some good laughter there. I'm Victoria Jones, the Chief of Athletics, and I just want to just say congratulations to all our award winners, our top athletes academically, and our coaches too, who labor with them every day. And the support of the board, our principals as well. So he kind of did the speech, so I'm going to get the show going. We have some athletes that are going to our All-Star game tonight. So we're going to start out with our top female and male athletes. The ADs and the principals will join, and then they'll come and join the board. And then following that, we'll recognize our city champions, our indoor track winners, and our cheer competition champions. Come on, first AD.
I'm DeAndre Wynn, AD at Belmont High School, and I'm with Ms. Blackman, AP at Belmont High School. So our first student is Ariana Canales. Next we have Sunim Ortiz Escobar. And we have Norman Sorio.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon McKinney, AD at Dunbar High School. And this is Principal Bailey, principal at Dunbar High School. Our first recipient is Blessing Preston with a 3.86 GPA. Our next recipient is Chris Starr with a 4.29 GPA. He is actually on a college tour right now.
Hi everyone, I'm Yoshi. I'm the AD at Ponents, and I have my full staff. I have our principal, Miss Lolita Christian, Javion King, and Rodenberg and America Hitson. We have two students as well. We have Yafet Mahari. And our Kinsey Harris. She could not be here today. She is actually on a tour as well.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Moore. I'm the AD at Meadowdale. And I have my principal here, Mr. Eddie Davis, and assistant principal, Indy Thompson. One of our kids couldn't be here today. He is at the Skills USA up in Columbus competition, and his name is Ian Thomas. And we have Miriam Ibrahim. Her GPA was a 4.12.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Petty. I'm the AD at Thurgood Marshall. I have with me here our assistant principal, Ms. Lamb. Today we have two recipients. Our first recipient is Lizma Nunez, and her GPA is a 4.2. Our next recipient and also our top student at Thurgood Marshall is Mr. Justin Lee with a 4.23 GPA.
Hello, Natwan Goddard, Athletic Director at Stivers. I'm here with Ms. Davis, our building principal, and our two athletes for the highest GPAs amongst the senior class is going to be Colton Thorpe and Gabrielle Madden.
Okay, now I want to introduce the girls basketball coach at Dunbar High School, Coach Erica Guy.
All right, everyone. My name is Erica Guy, head coach at Dunbar High School. Thanks for having us. I just want to say it was a rough season, but we made it through. Hard work and dedication got us here. I'm going to introduce my young ladies, as we have 3 young ladies participating in the District 15 All-Star Game here in about the next 30 minutes at Centerville. So we're going to go a little quick. My assistant coach, Jason Slaughter, can be here with us today. We have Blessing Preston, Rain Manson, Saray Ridley. I just want to recognize those are 3 of our 4 seniors. Ms. Donisha Davis, Demaya Hogan, Kimari Woodford, last but not least, Samaya Everett. And we had quite a few young ladies come be here. Thank you all.
Hi again, I'm Miyoshi. I am going to introduce my head coach, Coach Ray Dudley, and assistant coach, Janae Curtis. Hello, everyone. I'm Coach Rihanna Dudley. I just want to say thank you to these young ladies for working so hard this year. We are co-champions this year, but we made it. So I will now introduce these young ladies. We have Nelena Cosby first. Lariah Wright. Shania Miller. Joy Yu. Antonia Broaddus. Samaya Chambers. Jemiah Johnson. We do have a couple that couldn't make it. Mariah Cordner, Jayla Knowles, and Miracle Jacobs.
How everybody doing? I'm A.D. Watts over middle school, and this is Walkerman 7th grade basketball. Coach Cunningham.
How y'all doing today? All right, our first person is DeAnthony McDonald. Shamar Casey. Edward King Jr. and Dorian Harris.
And next we will have Walkerman 8th grade basketball by Coach Lane.
Hey, I'm 8th grade basketball coach. My name is Davion Lane. First we have Tyler Hilton. Next we have Justin Laurie. Next we have Tion Pounds. And last we have Jerron Williams.
All right, next up, I'm going to introduce our coach, Jessica Cade, in middle school girls basketball, who won city champs.
How y'all doing? I'm gonna announce our team. Coach, my assistant coach, Justin Shells, he couldn't be present tonight. But the first one is gonna be Celia Everett. Then we have Evelyn Brainerd, Tamia Morton, Peyton Riggs, A Dream Core, Desire Dancer, Savannah Smith, Blair Sharp, and Autumn Shackelford. 5 other players, they couldn't be here tonight. Eliana Couch, Yadi Pereira, Shania Caslin, Amir Harris, Maria Iceless, and Shania Stewart. Thank you.
Next, we'll have our cheer coach, Johnita Hurt.
Good evening, everybody. Board members, President Goodwine, rest of the board members, Dr. Jones, Chief Jones. So, as I always say, every time we get the privilege and honor of being in front of you guys as support to our basketball teams, we appreciate getting the recognition for being allowed to participate alongside these guys. So a lot of the girls couldn't be here for a couple different reasons, but the ones that are here, I will start with Timberland Heflin, Amira Bonner, Destin Nevins, London McLemore, Jeremiah Cunningham, and Cheyenne Stewart.
Next, we'll have our boys basketball coach, Coach Tony Dixon.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, guys. I'm excited to be here again. This is our 5th year here in a row, so we're excited. We got a lot of kids out, AAU, working. We had a couple that said they were 2 minutes away, but you know we got to start on time. But again, thank you for allowing us to be here. I got one guy here, my floor general. He won our DPS award this year. He carries a 3.2 GPA, Moses Sanford. First team All-City.
And last but not least, we have our city champs for wrestling, Coach Marcus Wright.
How y'all doing? Coach Marcus Wright. Have two of my guys here. A lot of them, same thing. It's 2 minutes away, work. And a few of my guys are actually on the college tour right now. So, but I do have two of my captains. First one, senior, Asir Barnes. And my second captain, sophomore, Albert Powell. Oh, he's going to be mad at me if I didn't say this, but Albert Powell has a 4.1 as well. He got beat out by Chris Starr. But, yeah, thank you.
Next up, we have the Stivers Middle School track team, indoor track team, here with Coach Body. She's going to recognize all our athletes that made a podium this past weekend state track meet.
Good afternoon. My name is Coach Z. This was our first year doing indoor, I guess, for middle school, and I had the pleasure of coaching this amazing team. It was a co-ed team. So we made it to the state, and everyone, as long as their times were up to par, I put them in the meet, and they showed up and they showed out. So we had multiple athletes make it onto the podium. We had some PRs, so I'm very glad they're able to be here today and be represented. So we have Deja Garrett, Eric Johnson, Abraham Ramirez, Kennedy Thomas, Maria Wilson, Ray Cuevas, Jameer Dudley, Kevon Clark, Thaddeus Avery, Kobe Thompson, Brooklyn Slayton, Nayeli Curtis, Siobhan Owensby, Amari Greer, Hadijah Amari, Mackenzie, I got Mackenzie, and Shayana. And they made the podium in shot put. We had long jump, 4x4, 4x2, 400, and I believe that's it, but they worked hard, so indoors over, and now it's time for outdoor, so thank you.
All right, next up, we have our middle school cheer team. They won the DPS cheer competition, so middle school coach McKenna Pittman.
I'm a little short. Okay, I'm Coach Kenna. I'm middle school cheer head coach. I would like to thank my team here, Coach Mack and Coach Raja, the high school cheer coaches. I would also like to applaud our middle school cheerleaders for delivering our comp routine in 2 weeks, a winning comp routine in 2 weeks. Our first award is Mackenzie Harvey. And then Allie Burke.
Zabria Ivy. Alana Carr. Alana Buki. Aubrey Lewis. Nashay Cochran. Trey. Zoe Smith. And then Corinne Foster couldn't be here today. And then Samaya Smith. Thank you.
All right, next up, we have our high school cheer team, who once again won the DPS cheer competition for the second year in a row. We have Coach Raja Brookshire and Brittany Macklin.
Good evening, everyone. I am Coach Raja, and I just want to start by thanking my girls. We have had a trying season. We started in August. Our first competition was in November. It was the BACA competition. It's the Black American Cheer Association, which they placed first place, and they were also grand champions, which are the highest award. Our second competition that we competed in was in state. So this is the OSHA competition cheer for state. They placed second in the hype cheer category, and they placed third in large, non-traditional, non-tumbling category. And then our final award was, of course, the DPS champions, and this, again, is our second year in a row. So I just really want to applaud my girls. They worked really, really hard to get to where they are. A lot of them couldn't make it because they are at school still dancing, or they're dance magnets, so they're at school still, or in track. So, but I do want to recognize the ones that are here, starting with Mariah Streety Bates, Samara Butler. Hold them flags up, girl. Taraya McLarty, Azaria Carr, Deja Scott, Alexia Knowles, Kiora Jackson, and Anaya Lawson. Thank you.
Next, we will have the intramural ran by Willie Bailey.
All right, good evening, people. We're going to start off with our third place winners in intramurals, Cleveland Elementary, and the plaque is being received by Miss Mims, Principal Mims, and Ayushi. She was second place in chess for 6th grade this year. Second place is Kaiser Elementary. Intramural leader, Mary Brooks.
Hello. I would like to recognize our contestants, James McComb, 6th grade from Kaiser. He participated in like 2 or 3 of the competitions and came back with a trophy. Jasmine Barr, our 4th grader, she completed in about 3 of them. And Samir, 5th grade, Samir Dubon, he was our 2nd place in chess. Amir Islamic, he competed in 4 different championships, 4th grade, and he was also a champion. And we have another boy that's not here, James Hensley, that was the champion of checkers, that's in the 4th grade. And our principal, Mr. Alex Robinson, and Ms. Sherry Watts, our assistant principal.
All right. In your 2000. In our intramural 2025 champions is Valerie Elementary, decade long, I may add. We have Aaron and David Dudley. They were both the intramural bowling champions for Valerie Elementary. They also participated in chess, soccer, football, God knows what else. They were everything. All right. And also we have our assistant principal, Dr. Richardson, to receive the plaque.
Good evening. Board President Goodwine, Vice President Bailey, board members, Superintendent Lawrence, and Treasurer Abraha. We held our annual Dayton Public Schools Science, Technology, and Invention Fair on February the 8th, 2025. We are proud to announce that over 300 students from 100% of the schools participated in this event. Thank you to the building administrators, teachers, science fair coordinators, parents, Chief Sheehy, the curriculum team, and especially our students for making this year's fair a huge success. At this time, we are honored to present to you the classes and the students with exemplary projects that placed first, second, and third place in competition. Class projects from preschool through third grade. Preschool class projects, third place, Rosa Parks, Miss Ranch, Miss Rakescroft, Miss Jones, and Mr. Burning's class. The title of their projects was Cloud in a Jar. Everybody's name is on it. Second place is Charity Adams. Charity Adams, Miss Penquit's class, Fun Friction. First place will be Rosa Parks, Miss Steiger, and Miss Brown's class. The title of their project was Tall Tower. Division 1 was kindergarten and first grade. Third place was Valerie. Miss Foreman's class, the title of their project was Worms. Second place was Kemp, Miss Burrow's class, The Day the Crayons Melted. And first place was Kaiser, Miss Swinehart's class. The title of their project was Sandcastle Science. Next, we have Division 2, second and third grade, individual projects. Third place, Kemp, Aiden Spencer, and the title of his project was Crystals. Second place was Valerie, Braden Rayford, The Good Burger Experiment. First place was Kemp Shamar Barker. The title of the project was Wind Power. Class projects for Division 2, second and third grade. Third place goes to Roosevelt, Miss Lewis's class. The title of the project was Plant Powerhouse. Second place was Louise Troy, Miss Hoffield's class. The title of the project was Magnetic Christmas Decoration. And first place was Bellhaven, Miss Stevens' class. The title of the project was Which Liquid Damages Teeth the Most? Team projects for Division Two. First place was Rivers Edge Montessori, Josiah Holby, Alice Neal, and Kavion Davis. The title of their project was Can We Build a Train That Floats? And that ends Division Two. Congratulations to Division Two. Division Three, fourth grade, individual project winners. Third place was Horace Mans, Benjamin Wharf. Second place was Ruskin, Davison, Ramirez. Bubble Gum Showdown. First place, Valerie, Aaron Dudley. Title of his project was Paper Towel. Team projects. Third place, Roosevelt, Charlotte McDonald, Arabella Ross, McCory Wilson, and the title of their project is Lotion for Dry Skin. Students, make sure you pick up your certificates before you walk over. That's it. Second place, Rivers Edge, Beatrice Edie, Naomi Hill, Charlotte Harrison, and the title of their project was Gummy Bear Growth. First place was Westwood, Damian Barnes, and Alicia Ann White. Rethink what you drink. Congratulations to Division 3. All right, next is Division 4, 5th and 6th grade. Some great things happened in this division. So for individual winners, third place is Valerie. Ava Bozeman, title of the project was Body Lotions. Second place was Kemp. Braylon Taylor. The title of the project was DNA from a Strawberry. The first place winner is from Cleveland. And the student is Ayushi Patel. And the title for the project was Can Different Liquids Help Plants? This young lady, can you hold your applause just a minute? And can she stand there just a second? Okay, so this young lady competed in the regional fair at Miami Valley Science and Engineering Fair on Saturday, March 15th, and received a superior rating. She will be competing in the State Science Fair. This is going to be virtual between April the 7th and 14th. And the celebration of the science will be hosted at the Ohio State University on May 10th, 2025. Congratulations. Next, we have the team winners in Division 4. Third place, Rivers Edge Montessori's. Liam Mathis and Quinn Simon. And the title of their project was Mold on Fruit. Second place winners, Charity Adams, Jordan Buchanan, and Peyton Daniels. And the title of their project was Sunshine Pizza Oven. The first place winners in the team project, Kaiser. The students are Jalen Miller and Vanessa Sanchez. Water acidification. And can I have these two students to stand here for just a second? So once again, this Division 4. These two young ladies are also they competed at the Regional Science Fair on Saturday, representing Dayton Public Schools, and they will be a part of participating in the Ohio State Science Fair also, virtually. And hopefully you'll be invited to go to Ohio State on May the 10th. So congratulations.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. Oops. We'll move on to Division 5, which is grades 7 and 8. We'll begin with individual winners. Third place was from Belmont High School with the title of Bridge, Charles Howerton. Second place is from International School Residence Park with the title of Acidity Test with Different Liquids. Mto Mcoco. Congratulations. In first place with a superior rating from Belmont Title Bridge, Luis Vargas. Congratulations. We'll move on to Division 5 team winners. In third place, from Edwin Joel Brown Middle School with the title of Do Different Store Bath Bombs Dissolve, Kayana Wooten, Riley Gibson, and Diana Safi. Congratulations. Team winners, second place from the International School at Residence Park with the project title Turbo Drive, Lawrence Calvo Reyes, Andandi Alvarenga Sanchez, and Nasreen Hassan. Congratulations. And first place team winner from Charity Adams Early Girls Academy with the title of Pretty Curls, Alida Obadimo, Damaria McMahon, and Tanaya Turner. Congratulations. That concludes the awards for Division 5. We'll pause here for a picture. Next, we move to the final division, Division 6, for grades 9 through 12. We'll begin with the individual winners. Third place from the David H. Ponitz, CTC, with the title of Caffeinated Chocolatiers, Shyla Davis. Congratulations. Second place from Dunbar High School with the title, project title of How Incubation Temperature Affects Hatching Time. We have Tim Stewart. Congratulations. And first place with a superior rating from Dunbar High School with the project title, Comparison Between a Simulated Pond, Nessa Moyer. Congratulations. We'll move on to team winners for Division 6. Third place from Dunbar High School. Project title, Monitoring Ammonia of Different Sources. We have Jeremiah Jones, Jamal Washington. Congratulations. Second place in the team category for Meadowdale CTC. We have Nathalie Flores and Charity Azoned. Project title of Colors. Congratulations. Okay, great. First place in the team winners, Superior Rating. They moved on to the regional at the Miami Valley CTC last weekend from Meadowdale CTC with the project title of Scene, Kingston Tyler, and Thurston Melson. Congratulations. We'll move on to the inventions category. Second place from Roosevelt. Invention title of Morse Code. We have Autumn Roush and Nimsi Portillo and Natalie Rodas Bonilla. Congratulations. First place in the inventions category from Louise Troy with the invention title of Glossy Growth, Samaya Crawford and Kira Hobson. Congratulations. In the materials and manufacturing category, third place, Horace Mann, Elliot Buger. Project title, The Loop. Second place, Louise Troy, Gadi Tumu Sifu, the title of Strong Bridges. First place, Horace Mann, Benjamin Worf. Congratulations to all of our 2025 Science Fair winners. I think we'll pause here momentarily for a picture.
paying attention to you, sir. Make sure you straight. All right, thank you everyone for joining us for that. That was really good to see our students awarded in those ways. We have two budget presentations. The first one is under Dr. Jones's department with the Chief of Athletics, and the second one is under Dr. Lawrence with College and Career Readiness. So Chief Jones, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. We just want to thank you for allowing us to share our budget review. And thanks for letting us recognize our student athletes today, too. We'll just go straight into it, the budget overview. So for our fiscal year 26 requested budget, we are requesting 12 FTEs. And that's going to be around $3 million. I do want to note that that $3 million does reflect our supplementals, which is around $1.5 million. Our non-payroll, we are requesting $1.8 million. Fiscal year 25, we requested 12 FTEs, so we are requesting the same amount. And we were approved for $3.1 million for our total salary for fiscal year 25. And then for our non-payroll, 1.4 is what we were approved for fiscal year 25. When we talk about the decrease and increase, our salary did decrease $143,000. After talking to Andrew, I think there were some changes in benefits, which reflects that decrease. And then our non-payroll did increase slightly, $350,000. Next slide. Our staffing and payroll requests. So the top lines, I just reviewed that with you guys. So I'm just going to go into our job titles. So the first one is Chief of Athletics. The status is current for that. Associate ADs, we have 2. Athletic coordinators, we have 5, which does include the intramural and partnership coordinator position. We have an athletics facility coordinator, which is currently vacant. A budget specialist, current executive assistant, and administrative assistant. And again, our supplementals at $1.5 million. That represents our coaches, study table coordinators, site coordinators, and our intramural leaders, and board-approved concession workers. Next slide. So the non-payroll object codes will be purchase services, supplies, equipment, dues, and fees. We don't do advances. So the fiscal year 25 budget for purchase services, $618, supplies, $402,000, equipment, $261,000, and then for our dues and fees, $167,000. Fiscal year 26, our requested budget, $865,000, which is an increase to $246,000. And then our supplies, $460,000, a little $57,000. And then our equipment, $250,000. It actually decreased a little bit, but supplies and equipment, we kind of go back and forth with those when we do materials and equipment. And then for our dues and fees, $225,000 did increase to $57,000. So fiscal year budget 25, again, we were approved for $1.4 million. Fiscal year 26, we are requesting $1.8 million. And then our increase for non-payroll is $350,000. Our areas of focus this year, professional development, camps and clinics, and then things with branding, equipment, supplies, and materials, and a focus on game day experience. The next slide, when we talk about the department impacts, professional development, creating opportunities across all sports and levels for students and coaches to attend camps, clinics, and professional development programs that enhance skill development, knowledge, and overall growth. These opportunities will promote engagement, foster a sense of belonging, build relationships, and contribute to a winning culture. The next impact, branding and resources. Ensuring that staff and students have the necessary equipment, supplies, and resources to remain competitive with neighboring schools in all areas. This will support introducing new sports, the expansion of existing programs, and providing the support needed to effectively implement and sustain these programs. The game day experience, enhancing competitive compensation while addressing the needs of game workers, officials, and assigners through strategies to secure, retain, and support personnel. Additionally, creating a safe, enjoyable, and professional game day environment that fosters school spirit and ensures a positive and unified experience for our community and district. And then the last thing, I just want to note that typically I have some kind of capital project. I think you guys have been gracious with us, with helping us with scoreboards and sound systems and things like that. At this time, no capital project has been identified. I think the primary focus for fiscal year 26 is on human development, prioritizing the growth and success of our students, coaches, and our staff.
Thank you, Chief Jones. Are there any questions?
I do.
Go ahead, Mr. Lacy.
So do you have a number for supplementals, like last year and this year, or is it too hard? Or
Like a
I guess,
count-
well, you obviously budgeted something for supplementals, so.
Yeah, I work with Andrew, and we do it based on each sport. And I think he put a little bit more into just because of the increase of game workers. But I don't have a specific number because we usually, it's based on what sports we're offering, based on if we have numbers to add assistant coaches, so it varies.
So, I mean, could Andrew share with us those numbers or something, or how he computed those supplementals?
Yeah, I can talk to him for you.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Mr. Walker?
Thank you. Just was looking at the increase for purchase services and what that was.
So purchase services is a variety of things. Our Premier Health contract comes through that. Our accidental insurance, Dragonfly, which is the third-party system that we use for game workers, recondition of helmets can be in that category. Our companies that we use for food can be in that category as far as Sam's, DFS. Any kind of outside contracts will fall into that category.
Thank you. And then the increase for dues and fees?
So that's like track participants. So as you saw today, we had middle school. It's the first time we did indoor. But that when we have them in those kind of events, we have to submit invoices for each student. Sometimes it can be per student, sometimes it can be team. And as we continue to grow and add sports, we see that that line needs to go up.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief Jones.
Thanks.
Chief Dooley, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Oh, that's nice. All right, our first slide, excuse me, is to just kind of share with you who is in this department, since this is a new department. Me, obviously. This department includes career technical education with 1 director, 1 academic coordinator, 0.5 clerical, and we have supplemental contracts that we pay for the radio TV person, about $34,000, but is not a direct employee. We have 1 person overseeing College Credit Plus scholarships and counselors, 1 person in cultural engagement overseeing life coaches, and 2 people in workforce development. 1 is a teacher on special assignment who is general funded. The second is grant funded as a work-based learning coordinator. Next slide. All right, this is an overview of our increase in both FTEs and in non-payroll requests. Let's go to the next slide so we can break that down a little bit. So let's talk about staffing and payroll first. We currently have 6.5 people in this department. We are asking for 2 additional positions for a total of 8.5 FTEs. Those 2 positions are listed there, an EMIS coordinator for CTE and a second CTE academic coordinator. So if we look at the next slide, we can see what it is that those people will be doing. The EMIS coordinator for CTE will report CTE data accurately to ensure maximum allocations, financial allocations are secured. Will report CTE data accurately to ensure that all local report card indicators for each building, the district, and the CTPD report card are correct and accounted for, and will ensure that CTE data from all charters and non-pubs is collected and reported properly. The academic coordinator will provide teacher support and coaching to help us assist our teachers and retain them. We'll also work with the charters and non-pubs in our CTPD. We'll assist with pathway expansion in 25-26 and beyond, and we'll ensure that CTE rules and regulations are followed, and there are a lot of rules. On the next page, our non-payroll budget, this shows you where the dollars are. You can see that the bulk of the money in this budget is in career technical education. So that $1.4 million supports 27 CTE programs and 1 industry credential only. And then you can see how the other dollars are allocated within that department. If you go to the next page, our requests, I broke it down by the department and by career tech. So if you look at the light yellow highlighted lines, the department, which would be some of us, are asking for an increase of dollars, non-payroll dollars, in the amount of $147,000. And career tech is asking for an increase of $509,000. So what is all this for? Our department is finishing its first year as a department. I think now that we are congealing as a group and a team, we have a very clear vision of where we need to go to support college and career readiness in Dayton Public. So focus areas for career tech programming, our startup programs in 25-26, and also to refresh programs, equipment, and so on. Focus areas for the overall department, we need to better coordinate one-day college trips for all kids and college tours. We need to provide career experiences for all on and off-site kindergarten through 12th grade. We need to utilize more student incentives to help students stay on track for graduation and to continue to provide college and career readiness experiences for all. Questions?
Thank you. Dr. Lawrence, you had something to add?
Yeah, I'd just like to, Ms. Dooley, could you go back to the EMIS screen very quickly? Thank you so much. One more, back. One more.
The position?
Perfect, right there. Thank you, Ms. Dooley. Just a reminder that my very first year, Lisa G. Minor, Associate Superintendent, identified with her team a loss of about $1 million in career tech funds because of an EMIS situation. And we also had EMIS on for a consultant to help us with our overall general EMIS support. A lot of money is lost with EMIS, and we are in the process of fixing, correcting, and putting systems in place. So that's just really, really important. I just wanted to add that to your presentation. Of course, always fantastic, Ms. Dooley, but I just want to put that out there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'm gonna go first. What you just said, would this position replace the consultant, or would we still have a consultant?
So the consultant is there's 2 different EMISs, one for our district itself, and then this EMIS. So This we still need to pay attention to because CTE is such a complex and large part of what we do now in high school because of the acceleration of programming. And then EMIS on the other side, we have issues there. That's why we got the consultant.
So is that a yes, no, maybe?
That's a yes. No, not replace. We need both.
Okay, so we'll have this and a consultant still.
Yes, the consultant will finish, but this will be full-time.
Okay, Mr. Walker?
To piggyback off of that, for this coordinator, is it CTE dollars or is this general fund dollars where this position will come from?
General fund dollars. However, Andrew did share that one of those two positions is potentially grant funded.
Okay.
So we're presenting kind of the worst case scenario.
Got it. And then the second part is, I don't see culture and engagement department. I see the director, but not the life coaches or anything like that.
They are also grant funded.
Okay. I just didn't see those positions.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And just to be clear, this is just for general funds, correct, this presentation?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what you
Correct.
said.
Yes.
Are there any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have hearing of the bargaining unit. If there are any members of the bargaining units who would like to speak, this is your moment. Okay, Madam Treasurer, do we have anyone registered to speak?
Yes.
Okay, give me 1 second. It is inappropriate to address any matter involving pending disputes, grievances under a labor agreement, disciplinary actions involving an employee or a student, ongoing labor negotiations, concerns or matters that have already been settled, and/or any matter which, because of its nature, is deemed appropriate to be discussed in executive session. You have 3 minutes to speak. Mr. Walker will indicate when that time is up. Thank you. Go ahead.
Jenny Green. Jenny Green. Zachary Green.
Oh, I think they're coming, Madam Treasurer.
Oh, okay.
And please state your name and address when you come up.
My name is Jeannie Green, and my address is 4501 Waymeyer Avenue in Dayton. I am here as a very proud parent of a JROTC cadet and an ex-Army wife. My son is a corporal in the JROTC program at Meadowdale, and he is the captain of the raid team. He is one of the 56 cadets in the JROTC program at Meadowdale. I stand here today and I beg you, please hear me. Please don't take the JROTC program away from Meadowdale and my son. My son is living, walking proof of this success. The JROTC program at Meadowdale. It has him excited to go and learn and participate. He was so excited when he came home and went to about making a flyer and making a team for raid. When he became the raid team captain, he loves JROTC. JROTC has made him decide what he wants in life and is shaping into a fantastic young man that sees his path in ROTC in the military through college and his life plans, and he plans to join the military after graduating. It is not fair to take the JROTC program away from my son and the rest of the cadets at Meadowdale. If you take the program away from Meadowdale because my son is a first-year cadet, he will lose his military seal that you have to have 2 years in JROTC to receive, and his military advanced placement benefits, which he needs to be able to advance at a higher rank when enlisting in the military after graduation. And JROTC counts as a phys ed credit because of PT. If the program is taken away, he, along with the other first-year cadets, would have to take a phys ed to get the phys ed credit required for graduation. If he continues in JROTC, it will count towards the phys ed credit required for graduation. To say it's a schedule issue is ridiculous. It's just an excuse. I don't want to hear excuses. I want to see results. My son and the cadets are currently in JROTC, and it has worked. They have attended JROTC, and and the needed courses to graduate. He volunteered as a JROTC cadet with the Toys for Tots and gave out toys to kids in need every day that gave out toys. He has participated and led many color guards and earned his color guard cord and medal. He is all about JROTC. If the program is moved to Dunbar, then they would have to transport the cadets to Dunbar to participate in JROTC and transport them back to Meadowdale, and that would take more time out of the schedule and take more time out of the scheduled time, and it would be a huge waste of time. I will not transfer my son to Dunbar for JROTC. I shouldn't have to. His program is at Meadowdale. He is going for robotics engineering. My son is really looking forward to the JROTC camp this summer and is very excited about going and participating. My son has earned his combat uniform early and was so excited about that. I purchased him name tape for his combat uniform and he was over the moon happy and excited. Wears it proudly. I also purchased him a military uniform, fleece rank, and name tape to wear in the winter with his combat uniform.
That's your 3 minutes.
If
I'm
you want to say
sorry.
some final comments, just to.
Yeah, I have just a little bit more.
Okay, go
that
ahead.
would be okay.
Go ahead.
Rank and name tape to wear in the winter with his combat uniform, and he was so happy and excited about it. Y'all can look at my son standing here, proud, in his JROTC uniform, and tell him you are going to take away his program, military SEAL, and his military advanced placement benefits, and his rank and all his hard work, time, dreams, and plans of joining the military at an advanced ranking. I will not, and I cannot do that to him. I am his parent, protector, and his guide to success in life, and helping him making a better life for himself. So please don't take the JROTC program away from my baby and the other cadets at Meadowdale. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me, a very, very proud JROTC cadet parent. Hua.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker.
Brandon Whitworth.
Good evening. My name is Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Wadsworth, and I've been a proud member of the Army JROTC program at Meadowdale for the past 3 years. It has been one of the most rewarding and impactful experiences of my high school career, and I am here tonight to urge you to keep our program at Meadowdale. Since sophomore year, I've had to personally request JROTC to be added to my schedule because this program means so much to me. ROTC is not another class. It has taught me discipline, leadership, teamwork, and responsibility. It has given me the confidence to lead and the skills to serve my community. Moving our program to a location that lacks the necessary resources will take away these same opportunities for future cadets. Over the years, I have had the privilege of leading numerous color guards in support of athletic events and community ceremonies. Proudly representing our school and our program, I have also mentored junior cadets, helping them grow into strong, confident leaders. This is what JROTC is meant to do. Build leaders for tomorrow. I have personally attended and completed the JROTC Cadet Leadership Camp, where I was able to take the lessons I learned at Meadowdale and put them into action in a real-world environment. JROTC is about more than just uniforms and drills. It is about preparing students for success in life. If you move our program to a facility that lacks the space, equipment, and resources we currently have, it will limit what our cadets can accomplish. The color guard won't have proper ceiling clearance to train. The air rifle team won't get or have a range to practice. Our entire program will be weakened, and future cadets will miss out on the opportunities I had. I strongly recommend that students interested in JROTC be transported to Meadowdale rather than moving it to Dunbar and having them transferred there. Oh, man. Oh, my bad, I lost my track. We already have the proper facilities, and it makes more sense to bring cadets to the best equipped location than to strip away the resources that make our program great. I am proof of what JROTC can do for a student. I want other cadets to have the same chance to learn, grow, and succeed just as I have. Please make the right choice and keep JROTC at Meadowdale. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cleon Humphrey.
Good afternoon, Madam President. Good one. My name is Sergeant Major Cleon Humphrey. I currently live at Westchester, Ohio. I've started at the program officially this January of this year. Prior to that, I interned at Meadowdale from September 23, working with Colonel Mason in a position as Army instructor, which had a high turnover rate. Being able to see the program before I fully committed to the program was beneficial to me and to her. She can assess my leadership to be able to pass on to the students, the cadets. And I felt it was a good opportunity to stay and continue what she's done to this point. She's been there at least 4 years prior to the last move from the other school that she conducted the JROTC program at. This current facility has exactly what we need: the storage, the range, and everything that I can further develop my cadets. Moving to a facility that lacks that equal space would greatly diminish what I can do with my students. It's not necessarily the students themselves, but the area that we need. So we finally get our program up and running, moving together, working together as a team, myself, the colonel, and the students, and to move to another location and have to start all over again would just diminish the JROTC program as a whole. I strongly would like you guys to consider leaving the program in place so we can further develop and not take a step back. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Claudia Mason, Senior.
Good afternoon. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Claudia Mason. I'm the Senior Army Instructor of the Army JROTC program at Meadowdale. I have a few slides I'd like to show you. This is the agenda I will follow. Next slide. These slides focus on, one, the response to the presentation that was made last week. Next, please. I wanted to elaborate that JROTC is recognized as a CTE pathway in 30 different states. While it's not recognized in the state of Ohio, replicating the JROTC CTE pathway in those aligned states can be an option. JROTC is also a common gen ed choice for our IEP students. I believe that's really important. We have a lot of hands-on, and it definitely has an appeal to IEP students. Cadets are not discouraged from joining other services. So if you look at enlistment just for one service, that does not acknowledge that there are other services that they can join. Completing just 2 years in the program yields significant benefits for our cadets. So 3 years is icing on the cake. But if you do 2 years, you get a graduation pathway, you get a PE waiver, and you also get an advanced enlistment placement. There are some jobs in the military that require 3 years in JROTC, but I just want to point out 2 years can be extremely beneficial to a student. Enlistment is not the only measure of a program's success for our cadets. I said that last week. And next slide, please. These are the numbers. If you just look at the JROTC classes, we have 50 cadets. If you add our JROTC elective, there's 5 additional, so we have a total of 55 cadets currently in our program. The student enrollment is on the slide here. So that's well within the contract of 10% of the overall population that we have. Even with CTE programming, our JROTC program meets that contractual requirement of 10% of the overall student population. Next slide, please. I wanted to give you some examples of schedules of actual cadets in our program. This is a 4-year, these are some recommendations that I recommend. CTE is offered 2 class periods, 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, 6th and 7th. Their CTE plan is always 5th in our building. Right now, during that period, we don't offer JROTC. It is not on the schedule during the CTE plan period. I recommend that that change. I also recommend to allow students an opportunity to take JROTC and maximize their opportunity to be able to take it, that we stagger the planning periods for both instructors. I think that'll yield more opportunities for our students.
I'm gonna give you an extra 90 seconds.
All right, the next few slides give you sample schedules where they actually work. These are real students that exist that have taken our program for 4 to 3 years. Next slide. This is an example of a live senior that's actually taking our program. As you can see, he had a couple of semesters where he failed, but he's since recovered, and he's on track to graduate. He's doing quite well. He's actually at Skills USA right now. And again, he is on his way to completing all 4 years in JROTC. Next slide. These are next 3 examples of juniors that are currently in our program. They've been in the program 3 years. Again, this is an example of a student that failed 1 semester, but since recovered. And he's well on his way to doing well in CTE. They've attended HOSA, did well in that. This particular student has attended camp, done numerous things. Next slide. This is an example of a student that actually failed some classes, has since recovered, but somehow was able to complete 3 years in JROTC. Next slide. And this is a student that just passed everything and was able to fit Army JROTC 1 through 3 in his schedule. That's all I have. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ryan Jackson. Ryan Jackson. Angela Pierre Dacu.
Good evening. My name is Angela Pereira Duque. I am a parent of a student that also attends Meadowdale, that is a cadet in the ROTC program. I'm going to read you a little excerpt from a letter that I had written to the board. The Army JROTC program provides the Meadowdale CTC students motivation and skills to become successful citizens by acquiring a sense of responsibility and respect for authority. Furthermore, it motivates the Meadowdale students to improve physical fitness, to remain drug-free, think critically, and think creatively. It develops the Meadowdale students' abilities of communicating effectively, working as team members, in addition to taking responsibility for actions and choices. The program encourages the students to come to school daily, to work hard to graduate from high school, and to pursue meaningful careers after graduation. The Army ROTC program at Meadowdale is extremely important for the students there. My son is an exceptional child, a student with disabilities, and it's because of the Army Junior ROTC program at Meadowdale that my son is actually thriving his freshman year of high school. While the program at Meadowdale CTC is structured and rigorous, it offers benefits to students with disabilities, including leadership and life skill development. It accesses scholarships and structured environment that fosters discipline and teamwork. Relocating the Army Junior ROTC program to Dunbar High School denied any Meadowdale CTC student with disabilities of being able to continue participating in the program. My son looks forward to going to school every day because he loves the program and color guard activities at Meadowdale. The Army ROTC program supports the Dayton Public Schools' mission, vision, and purpose of inspiring, educating, and empowering students for a lasting impact while cultivating a supportive, engaging education experience for all students. My son, since joining the ROTC and going through his first year at Meadowdale in the program, he has actually done community service. He's on the autism spectrum. It's huge for him to try new things. It fosters a sense of community with the team building, actually being inclusive and fostering some relationships and social interaction skills. He has done color guard and he loves it, working with his teammates for that. It's the thing that he actually looks forward to every day, and I'm able to get him out the door to school because he is looking forward to going to that class. So I highly encourage you to please keep this at Meadowdale. He is in one of the career pathways, and he looks forward to this every single day. He looks forward to doing the different activities and events, and just, you know, he will actually advocate, and he wrote a letter himself for, you know, requesting that it would stay. I don't know if you guys received a copy of the letter, but for him, it's huge to express his emotions and feelings, to be able to advocate for something that he loves. I thank you very much for your time, and I please encourage you to keep it at Meadowdale. Thank you.
That concludes tonight's speakers.
Thank you to everyone who came to speak out as.
There were 2 people called when Ms. Green was up there. Zach was on, Zachary Green.
Oh, I called Zachary Green.
Is Zachary Green here now?
Yes. Okay, Zachary Green.
Is the other individual? Okay, just Zachary?
Yes.
Oh, you were up here. Could have just slid on over.
Okay.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
My name is Zachary Green. I'm a cadet in the Army Junior ROTC cadet program, and I'll be honest, I don't really like school. I don't see how it's gonna help me. Like when I joined the military, I don't really think it was gonna help me, but once I heard about the JROTC program, I thought, like, okay, that's cool. I'll do that. That's pretty cool. And now that I'm in it and I've met the people, it helps me. It helps me. It helps me. Can't talk. Sorry. It helps motivate me when I wake up in the morning, get dressed, go to school, actually be there, participate, and do my stuff. Because you can't be in the program if your grades are down, I think. Maybe, but it just helps me motivate myself to go to school, to do it, and actually go through. And it's motivated me to go to college now because there's instead of JROTC, there's a ROTC program in college that can further help me, get a higher rank and do better in the military when I enlist. And if it moves to Dunbar, it's gonna really throw off my plans, and it's just not gonna be very fun. It's gonna remove more time out of my schedule, and it's gonna mess everything up. That's it. Thanks for hearing me.
Thank you. I'll ask the other student, would you like to speak? Come on. Come on up. You got dressed for it and everything? Just say your name for us, please. He was ready, and he brought out a speech.
My name is Cadet Major Arthur Thomas, and I had an honor being a part of this Meadowdale Career Technology Center Army JROTC program, while also balancing my time as an athlete and a surgical tech CTE student. And I am here today because this program has shaped me into the leader that I am today, and I strongly urge you to keep the program at Meadowdale where it is best equipped to serve cadets like me. Throughout my time in JROTC, I had an incredible experience that had prepared me for my future. I had completed the JROTC cadet leadership camp twice, pushing myself beyond limits and gaining skills that will help me both in my career and life. Recently, me and Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Brennan Wadsworth and I placed top 10 in the state of Ohio for the surgical technician. The surgical technology at the Health of Occupation Students and the Health Occupation Students of America, also known as the HOSA competition. This experience has helped me develop the discipline, confidence, and leadership skills I need to succeed as I consider a future in the armed forces. Knowing this program has given me the foundation I need to excel in whatever path I choose.
You good, just keep going. Don't worry about that.
JROTC has helped me grow as a leader and a teammate and a mentor. It has given me the opportunity to develop discipline and responsibility qualities that I have carried over into my academics and athletics and career training. Moving our program to a location that lacks the facilities we need will take away these opportunities for the next generation of cadets. At Meadowdale, we have the resources to train at a higher level, including the dedicated air rifle range, proper drill space, and the right accommodations for color guard training. These are things that cannot be replaced at Dunbar. Without them, the program would lose its effectiveness. Instead of relocating JLTC to a facility that cannot fully support it, I strongly recommend that the students who want to participate be transported to Meadowdale CTC. We also have the space, the equipment, and the structure to continue producing strong cadets and future leaders. I have personally benefited from this program in more ways than I can count, and I want future cadets to have the same opportunity that I had. Please make the right decision and keep the Army JLTC at Meadowdale CTC, where it can continue to thrive and impact student lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate everyone coming out to give public comment. I love to see when people are here to advocate on things that they believe in. Every person that's elected on this board has done the same thing, and I look forward to, when we get to that portion of the program, how people are able to reflect not only on what you gave us today, but also the research we did outside of the last meeting. So, moving on, first now, Superintendent, your first recommendation.
Thank you so much. I recommend approval of the following certified appointments.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Can we, go ahead.
Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Board Member Wick.
Can
Any questions on the motion?
I add a friendly amendment to take superintendents A through F together, but pull B1 and B2 till after exec, and then E2 for a separate vote?
First, Mr. Lacy, do you accept the friendly amendment?
Yes, I'll accept it.
Second, Madam Treasurer, did you get all the notes that Mr. Walker put out?
B1 and B2
B1 and B2
are pulled.
Pull till after exec. E2 for a separate vote.
E is in Edward too?
Yes.
Not necessary.
Not necessary?
Yeah, not necessary.
Okay, so leave E2.
Yeah, you can leave it.
Okay, so
Leave
don't
it.
worry about E2, so just B1 and B2 till after exec.
Okay, I got it.
All right, any questions on the motion? Only B1 and B2 have been pulled.
One moment, please. I had a question for, I don't see Chief Jones. I guess I'll ask Dr. Jones.
Oh, she right
She
there.
right there. She's sitting in the audience.
Oh, let's see. Couldn't see her past this. No, I try to go into the positives.
Good, thank you. I need some positive vibes.
So instead of vacancies, I asked how many coaches do we have for the fall already in place?
I'd rather the vacancies. No. So we've been diligent with trying to get them in sooner because we do understand the impact of getting coaches in place earlier in the process. I don't have the total number, but I will say the next one, I think Ms. Tolliver and Maurice said that we have at least 50 on that next one. So
Okay.
we're adjusting to this new deadline, but you have seen some sprinkle in, and it's going to be a lot of them coming soon.
Appreciate you, Chief.
You bet.
Any other questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Abstain?
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
6 yeses, 1 abstain.
Your next recommendation? We're in 7A.
Thank you so much. I recommend approval of the following revised salary schedules.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Board Member Wick, second by Dr. Bailey. Everything except for C and D, you can.
Okay, so Ms. Witt, can I offer a friendly amendment to take, take A and B and then,
E, F, G, and H was off last week.
but C is, they're both in there, so we need to separate those out.
No, C is just the 48-hour waiver for the Sinclair memo, which would be Or just C, actually?
Yeah, so A through E and then D through H together. For C for a separate.
You accept this friendly amendment? All right, are there any questions on the motion?
Could you restate it?
Restate.
Just C separate.
C the only thing that's separate. Everything else can be in one.
Any other questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick.
Yes.
7 yeses.
I recommend approval of the following 48-hour waiver memorandum of understanding.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Walker, second by Mr. Lacy. Dr. Lawrence, can you explain how we got this one late?
This is a transition. Dr. Sherry Gale was transitioning out to become House of Bread CEO, and I just dropped the ball on this in the transition. We had a new employee coming in, and we were dividing up the duties. We just missed it.
Okay, and have we covered all our bases to ensure we don't miss anything else?
We have.
All right.
And it's been illegal.
Thank you. Any other questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you, Dr. Lawrence. It is not on here, but we do need you to make a motion to vote on the actual MOU.
Well, I was just going to do that.
Go ahead.
I recommend the approval of the following MOU: Sinclair Community College, DPS, and College Credit Plus Rate, and I caught that.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Mr. Walker.
Which
Any
one?
questions on the motion?
It's not on
here.
there.
It's just for the MOU
Okay.
we just waived.
So it's what we waived.
Okay,
C and a half.
okay.
That's right. Ms. Kidd, can you add a letter I or something, put it on here?
add a second motion under this.
Okay, there you go. Appreciate it. Any questions? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Does that conclude your recommendations?
Dr. Goodwine, that concludes my recommendations.
Madam Treasurer, your first recommendation?
Okay. I recommend the approval of accepting amounts and rates as reviewed last week.
Can,
So
Can we-
moved.
Is there a second?
Who moved it?
Ms. Wick? Mr. Walker not moving fast enough.
okay. So Ms. Wick,
Second by Dr. Bailey.
another friendly amendment of taking A through H together.
I'm tired of your friendly amendment.
You want to do it
I'm
separate?
kidding, no, it's fine.
So we are voting on A through H together.
A little humor in there.
Okay. A to H. Okay.
Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you. Dr. Jones, your first recommendation?
Thank you, Madam President. I recommend a ratification of the following Ohio High School Athletic Association membership, 25-26.
I'd like to make the motion to take A and B together.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Walker, second by Mr. Smith. Any questions on the motion?
That was Mr.
Oh,
Bailey.
that just sounded like.
I
Second by
also-
Dr. Bailey.
I also received Temple Christian's signed MOU, and we have another one on the way from the STEM school. So
I'd like to make the friendly amendment to your thing. I'd like to accept Temple Christians
Absolutely.
and the STEM school when it
STEM
comes
school.
in, allow Dr. Jones to accept that.
Perfect.
That's what I was gonna ask. Are
Hold
there
on.
any?
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
first, go.
Dr. Jones, how many more non-public schools do we have left to have the MOUs with in order to?
5, but.
5 left.
Right, yes, but a lot of those students are not participating in spring sports. It'll impact the fall.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Any questions to the motion?
Yes.
Oh, my bad, go ahead, Mr. Smith.
So with the ones that have been back in, have there been any issues with them getting everything that they need to start participating? Because I know this is the first step, but then once we do this, then they still need to go through the non-enrolled paperwork, correct?
Some of that non-enrolled paperwork is already.
And that's what I was gonna ask.
Most of our students, they play multiple sports, so some of them did them early on. The ones that still may need to do it is only spring. They do have till the 31st to get that done, so. And
Okay.
we will extend it due to this situation.
And then, second question with that, so people know about getting that out, when do the competitions for spring sports begin?
It ranges based on the schedule and the sport. So I think one of the sports probably start in 2 weeks, but all of the league schedules, we can adjust that because we control our schedules.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then lastly, Dr. Jones, have we had any differences with the formats, with some of the needs from the non-publics?
One school expressed that the document was a little bit more detailed than they anticipated, so they needed a little more time to review it.
Okay.
And so I anticipate we won't have any issues with them signing.
All right. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
In the affirmative.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick.
Yes, thank you. It's
7
exciting.
yeses.
Thank you. I recommend the approval to extend the treasurer's employment contract for a 2-year term and the retroactive salary increase. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Wick, second by Mr. Walker. Any questions on the motion? Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
No questions. Just want to say I appreciate our treasurer, appreciate the work that you do. Look forward to continuing working with you and the rest of our team.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Mr. Lacy?
Because we voted to not renew, we voted against renewal, do we need to vote to set aside?
We didn't vote against not renewing.
Yeah.
The motion was to renew our contract, and we voted.
That was the separate one, though. So because of the March 1st thing, then so this is just a salary.
I know it's not, but the wording is the same. I mean, can we just say,
I would say.
waive the ruling? Yeah, waive the rule.
The motion person to please move.
I motion we waive the rule.
Waive the motion first.
Yeah.
The
So-
first person needs to withdraw their motion, and then we need to do a motion to waive our rule, and then go back. So can you please withdraw your motion, Ms. Wick? Were you the one?
I withdraw my motion.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Lacy, can you give me a motion for us to,
I motion that we waive the rule,
that when we vote on something,
That,
it's done for the year?
that, yeah.
Thank
that
you.
We get to vote on this particular thing again.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Walker. Any questions on the motion?
I mean, I'm just crossing Ts here, really. That's all.
100%. Any other comments or questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick.
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, moving back. Now, I recommend the approval to extend the treasurer's employment contract for a 2-year term, and I also recommend the approval of the following resolution, retroactive salary increase for the treasurer. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Board Member Wick, second by Board Member Walker. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
No.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick.
Yes.
6 yeses, 1 no.
All right, we missed this policy last time, so this first one is for first reading. Resolution to adopt board policy. Insomuch as the Board of Education is committed to the continuing updating of its policies, rules, and regulations manual, and the committee, which was appointed, has been working toward that goal. The following are brought at this time for first reading in compliance with Board File BFC policy adoption. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies that have been codified for inclusion in the handbooks of policies, rules, and regulations. BDC, executive session. These policies, this is for second reading. Insomuch as the Board of Education is committed to the continuing updating of its policies, rules, and regulations manual, and the committee, which was appointed, has been working towards that goal. The following is brought at this time for second reading in compliance with Board File. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies that have been codified for inclusion in the handbook of policies, rules, and regulations. DIA, Internal Audit Charter, EDEC, Social Media Policy, GCBBB, Supplemental Compensation for Administrators. I motion that we accept these policies. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Goodwin, second by Mr. Lacy. Are there any questions or comments on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick.
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, this next one is being first, simultaneously for first and second reading. This is a special education policy, so you guys know we have to have this adopted by the 31st, which is why it's there. Insomuch as the Board of Education is committed to the continuing updating of its policies, rules, and regulations manual, and the committee, which was appointed, has been working towards that goal. The following is brought at this time for simultaneous first and second reading in compliance with Board File. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby and accepts and adopts the following policies, which have been codified for inclusion in the handbook of policies, rules, and regulations. Multiple policies for special education policies. I move that we adopt, I motion that we adopt these policies. Is this a second?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Goodwin, second by Mr. Lacy. Go ahead, board member.
Question, President Goodwin. Was this passed through policy meeting at the previous policy committee meeting that we had? Because the one that we had yesterday, we did not have a quorum, and we were not able to pass this or the other policy that we wish to pass through.
It was not, Ms. Kidd gave it to me because we have a deadline that we have to put it in place. So at this point, it's just the board taking action.
Okay, just
It's
wanted
the
to
board.
make sure that was clarified.
Yeah.
No.
No.
It's
that's
not a
the same.
rule.
It's not a rule. It's a practice. All right, any other questions? And for everyone, the legal did review this one before it went to the policy committee. All right, seeing none, Madam Treasurer, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick.
Yes.
7 yeses.
That was so much fun. Now we're at the moment of which we all have waited for, to talk about the JROTC relocation, Meadowdale High School to Dunbar High School. So I will open up the floor to discussion before we do anything. Has anybody had anything that they would like to report back that they've seen, or any comments on what we saw last week as well as what we heard this week? Go ahead, Dr. Bailey.
So for me, I just think that this is being moved on a little bit quickly, too quickly. I went out to Meadowdale, looked at the facility, really like to talk to the instructors out there. The biggest thing was, again, talking to the students, the cadets, and getting the same feedback that I got today. I did ask last week if the students had been spoken to at Meadowdale and Dunbar. I've heard from students from Meadowdale, but none from Dunbar. Heard from parents from Meadowdale, but none from Dunbar. I would just like to see a little bit more information and how this would work. What's going to be the difference in clearly as to if you move it from Meadowdale to Dunbar, what's going to be the clear difference that, one, the instruction is going to be maybe better, because I feel like they may be thinking that it's not as good at Meadowdale or something. The other thing is, will they have just as many students or more students? And then now today, after listening to the cadets, it would be the issue of these cadets being in for 1 or 2 years and them losing their ability to have rank when they go into the military. How is that going to work for them? Especially when you have a parent saying that she's not going to transport or let her child go to Dunbar. So it's just some things that I'd like to see worked out before I can really get 100% on board. I talked to the instructors over there, and like I told them, I don't have a problem with whatever school it's at. I'd like to see JROTC still in our schools, and to be honest with you, I'd really like to see another JROTC program. I'd like to see one at both schools, but I would like to see a little bit more, and I'd also talk to Dr. Lawrence about this, so I'd just like to see a little bit more. That's where I'm at.
I'm gonna echo that. I'll get you after me, because I might forget. Wait on you. So I will say that I do appreciate everyone who came out today. In addition to the emails that we have received, we have gotten a good amount of feedback, not only from the students, instructors, and parents as well. I did take up the offer to go look at both facilities myself, and I sent the rest of you guys a video and pictures of what I saw there. And I will say, we have, at this moment, I don't think the move to Dunbar, similar to what you said, I think it bears more conversation. I honestly agree that I would love to see JROTC at every school in that piece of it. I do believe that when I looked at the data that was sent back to us about the interest at Dunbar was 16 students, and I think that's phenomenal that if 16 students are interested in it, we should start working to build a program here for those students. I don't think it's the best move for us at this moment to uproot something that's already there, and since transportation was already put on the floor, I don't see why the 16 students who are interested, why they couldn't go be a part of that one as we are trying to build something over at the other school. I will also note too that additionally, I always look at our footing in the marketplace, and I look at our competitors, and Northridge and Horizon are competitors for us. Northridge has a JROTC program. I would hate for, like some people, as our student back there, I believe it was Zachary, stated that this is the reason I go to school. And I understand that, because I went to school for softball and those other things that I had to do to get through the day and that piece of it. And to lose your why is a big thing there. And I don't think you can ignore, or you should ignore, when students come, because it's one thing for adults to advocate. We do it all the time. We have so many opinions. But to watch 3 young men come up today and tell you, like, this is a part of my why. I make this in my schedule. I request that they put it in there. I think our team at this moment of life is very talented. In the same way that we continue to figure out other programs, we've gotten suggestions now of how to make this a pathway so more individuals can be involved in it. So I personally think our team, like, I want to challenge our team to figure out how to continue to invest in this program while building other ones in the district. Mr. Smith?
Thank you. First off, I want to say thank you to the people that came and spoke, especially to our young students that spoke. I'm always proud of you guys to get up and advocate for yourselves, and I don't want this to be the last time you do that. I want you to always keep that voice that you showed today as you move forward in life, and understand that you do have a voice. And that's a big step for you and anyone as they come in here. I just think that there's more conversations that could be had. I think there's some solutions that we can come to. And I don't want to take for granted the work that has been done so far from the superintendent's team. I think that is also good work. I think sometimes when we make decisions or we lean yay or nay, sometimes it seems as if we're not valuing the work that people have put in. So I want to value all the work on all sides. I just feel like there's more work that can be done, and I would encourage us as a board to kick it over to our committee that is really specifically designed to do this and have those conversations, where I think we can dive deeper into not only this, but some of the other offerings at buildings, and understanding that we deal with constraints. we don't have the same size buildings as we used to have. We don't have the space that we used to have in some of our buildings. So when we come up with these ideas, it sometimes seems like there's this zero-sum game that we have to play because we don't have the space that we used to have. And we've seen that with some of the band programs we've tried to do. We've seen it with choir programs. We've seen it over at Belmont with different programs, and people are constantly fighting for space as well inside of our buildings. So I think that bears more discussion to where we can look at down the road, where sometimes it's a space thing, sometimes it's a staff capacity thing, sometimes it's a building alignment thing. And I think it needs to have more conversations fleshed out. I wouldn't want to have just a yay or a nay, and then we stop talking about how we better our schools. Because I think that's the end goal for everybody in this room. Be it you are for a move, against a move, you're still here for the betterment of our students. And so I don't want us to have votes make those conversations stop. So I would ask us to push this conversation there as well, and really come up with better solutions on how we can serve our students. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Thank you. Thank you to the parents that came out and spoke, as well as the students and both of the instructors. As you know, my time at Colonel White going to Thurgood Marshall, it was a part of that era where the district was getting rid of marching band programs. So once the district did get rid of marching band programs, the next option was ROTC. I hated it the first year. Major Graves kept me on it, picked us up at 6 o'clock in the morning, kept me engaged with it. So as a student leader for that, I never like to see a program leave a building because of the actual impact that you have on the students that are there. I think I am definitely a proponent of, if there are students at Dunbar that are interested, then work out with transportation on how to make those students be a part of the program at Meadowdale. For me, I was already familiar with the space at Meadowdale. I took it a step further, and I was curious about the enrollment of the Air Force ROTC over at Belmont. It's Air Force or is it Navy? Navy. And it was just interesting seeing on the wall their composite photo of the students involved in ROTC and things like that. And what I've seen from that is this is a building that actually pushed students to actually look at PE waiver and an actual involvement into programs. I think at Meadowdale we need to create those opportunities. If they are not there, how do we expand on those more to get more students engaged in it? I think there's plenty of opportunities of rather looking at the freshman seminar, how to add ROTC. It's a career pathway. Let's look at that piece. Let's look at what Colonel Mason presented with other 30 states are doing. I think CTE, you just asked us for 2 other positions today. Look at how to create this type of program to expand on it and things like that. Thank you so much.
Are there any other comments?
I just got one more.
Go ahead.
And which is, I just want to make sure that this is going to be because I'm like Will, I'll piggyback that the work that Dr. Lawrence and Ms. Minor put into this was really good. I just want this to be a win-win situation, not for both sides of this equation. And I think as smart as everybody is that's dealing with this, I think that it can happen. That's it. That's all I have.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to make a motion that for the 25-26 school year, we do not relocate Meadowdale, but we also kick this conversation to the school programming and curriculum to bring back and explore the discussion that we are looking for of what is happening not only with this program, but in all the ROTC programs in the district.
I'll second.
Moved by Dr. Goodwine, second by Mr. Walker. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none?
There was no motion before this?
No.
We were just talking? Okay.
We're just out here talking, in new business,
All right.
shooting the breeze. All right. Madam
President.
Treasurer, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
No?
Mr. Smith,
Yeah.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick.
Yes.
6 yeses, 1 no.
All right, the next conversation piece on for tonight is the removal of middle school grades from Belmont. Dr. Lawrence, can you tell us a little bit about this?
I can. I just wrote down something Board Member Smith said, fighting for space. And let me say that all of these pieces actually are connected. The Meadowdale, Dunbar, they're all connected as part of a continuum, and we look forward to having some conversations at the curriculum and school programming meeting on 3/26/2025, 4 to 5 o'clock in the boardroom across the street at 136 South Ludlow Street. Fighting for space, that's what we have at Belmont. Belmont has extraordinary potential. I was here 10 years ago when the middle schooler, 10 or 11, when the middle schoolers were sent to Belmont, and there was a room full of folks out there who did not support it. I guess some do now, but Belmont is our most populous high school, and we have extraordinary expansion for Belmont in place. Belmont has been forsaken. We went out to talk to the staff, and that was what they kept repeating us. We said it, they've been forsaken from a programming standpoint for quite some time, and so we have a laser-like focus on Belmont right now, and we need the space from where the 7th and 8th graders are. They're actually confined to one hallway, so that we can begin to expand out and have additional career tech pathways such as sheet metal and other CTE pathways. You saw the additional teachers and instructors and resources that Chief Dooley asked for as we move to expand programming in the entire district. So we are simply trying to make the city of Belmont great. And so that's kind of a general overview of what our thoughts are.
Are there any discussion? The floor is open. This is a discussion piece here.
My question is,
You can't just jump out there, man. You got to raise your hand.
You
Mr.
did.
Smith is
So I'm
first,
sorry.
and then we
I
come
didn't
back
see
to you.
nobody raise their hand.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith. You wasn't, yeah.
I know, they don't even look that way.
I made eye contact with you. I saw you. Go ahead. The
I
floor is yours.
appreciate that. So my first question would be if we are saying we will be removing 7th and 8th grade from Belmont, where are we expecting those children to go?
Right now, we're expecting to attend Wright Brothers. We believe the number of rising 7th graders, and I need somebody from the team to correct me, they're scheduled to go there, is in the 60s, is that correct?
7 to 8.
Going from 6 to 7 that would have
You
gone
got to
there.
come to the mic. Just grab it. Bring it back to the chair.
I don't have that data committed to memory. But our proposal was to not have 7th grade this year, but
Correct.
retain the 8th graders until they can just roll up into high school. So those 7th graders would be redistributed to the 3 standalone middle schools. But we have the numbers. Ms. Spurlock and I actually worked on that with IT. So we can tell you exactly what the projections would be for each of the 3 middle schools. And the buildings have the capacity to absorb those students currently.
Ms. Clark, do you have those numbers? I see you up there typing. Yeah, and we're also, there's state law that says that if buildings are below 60%, we have to investigate closing those buildings, and so we want to also make sure that the buildings that we have are full at the middle school space while we continue to work through a transformation at the middle school. Go right ahead, Ms. Clark.
So the current projection for Wright Brothers is 500 students, whereas the projection for Wagaman would be 375, 376. And the projection for, just rolling up, Edwin Joel is 490, 491.
Okay.
That's going to be a tight school.
I know. May I have a follow-up for that one?
Go ahead.
My follow-up with that would be looking at when the 7th and 8th were put into Belmont, part of the rationale for doing that was because we had a overpopulated Wright Brothers. So my thought is, if we're doing this, then we would be going back to the same reason why we put the 7th and 8th graders in the first place. And secondly, with that,
The Wright brothers, and you have a terrific memory, so you remember this. Wright brother was pre-K through 8 then.
no,
Yeah.
when we put middle school, but we just put middle school, like,
Yeah, we.
Rhonda Core, you gotta
Yeah.
go back to.
yeah.
Yeah.
I voted no.
Mr. Lacy, no.
Yeah.
So,
Can I tap a thing on, just for you, just a
okay,
small little
go
nugget?
ahead.
The numbers you guys said exceed the building capacity. Like, Wright Brothers' building capacity is 473 for just general knowledge. You said 500, and the building capacity is 473. E.J. Brown's building capacity is 473 as well, so it would also be over. And what was the third one?
Wagaman.
Wagaman's, I mean, all the middle school's building capacity is 473.
So,
So
oh,
just go, but let me kick it back to Smith.
Can I answer that?
It was his time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, then, doing so then would leave, to me, a gap in just looking at the footprint of what we cover in our district. And I think you mentioned it, the city of Belmont, and understanding that it's a different place. You go out to Belmont, it's a different place. It's one of the few places that the name of the neighborhood is on a lot of these businesses. They rock with Belmont out there. And seeing that, just the history of that, we no longer have, Belmont was once an elementary school, and then we built Belmont High School, which is one of the last of the pre-renovated buildings, pre-new build buildings, because of the growth just in that neighborhood. And then just seeing how I look at just the landscape of middle schools, and we have these conversations where you have 2 middle schools, for the most part, on the west side. You have a space in Harrison Township that is for our young ladies at that middle school level. And then this would create a gap in that side of Dayton to where we would have Wright Brothers, and then to a certain extent possibly Stivers, but that's a whole another bag of students that are wanting to go into that art space. So if you exclude the students that are going into that art space, we have 1 middle school then on that side of town. And that's concerning to me. So that would be my question is, what are we doing to alleviate what would be seen then at Wright Brothers? And then also, what are we doing to avoid what I could foresee as parents going, okay, I'm not putting my kid here. I don't want to send my kid to these ones, so I'm going to leave the district. So that is all I have for right now.
I want to go back to Mr. Lacy. Wasn't Wright Brothers pre-K through 8, and we took pre-K through 6 out?
Yes, yeah, well, yeah, we did.
Right.
Yeah, that was across the district.
That was an across the district decision by Rhonda Core, pretty much I think her first year, or her, which
Her
might be
only
her
year.
only year, yeah.
Oh, my God.
The year that Shauna Welch went to athletics is when they changed it to straight middle school.
Okay.
I think it might have been earlier, actually, because
I-
I'm
It's
thinking
like
about,
2016, are we talking?
I thought it was
I'm thinking
before
about,
Rwanda Corps.
um,
Well, she was in the middle of leaving while Libby was doing something.
It was Rhonda Core's idea, yeah.
Ms. Clark, how many middle schools you have there? 120? How many middle schools at Belmont? 120, 130 currently?
It's more than that. It's like 211, I think, 12.
Can I,
Yes.
Ms. Wick.
my concern is the same as our board members have expressed, and I certainly always appreciate the consideration of the team and
We
the
got it.
recommendations, but as we've discussed before, when we know that junior high is one of our most vulnerable opportunities for Dayton Public Schools, are we doing due diligence for our district as we talk about these, these potential solutions? I mean, I think oftentimes we're responding right now to overcrowding. We're responding to teachers and building capacity, when I oftentimes wish we had a longer time to pause and really vision what a productive junior high campus within Dayton Public Schools should look like, or what a productive junior high campus in today's world looks like. And when we have students that are standing up speaking, talking about, you know, being motivated to come to school, whether it's ROTC, whether it's their sports, whether it's the debate team, you know, what are we doing as a district to make sure our junior high kids want to come to school, when we know that, especially in Dayton Public Schools and probably across the country, it is a really a space that all of our educators that do this work, I really want to hear what everybody has to say. And I want to take our time too. I don't want to always respond to, I know that we have to do both. You're trying to fix things as we go and make things better. So I just offer that as consideration when we're looking at these opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Were you about to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say this is just writ large. Our focus is on expanding opportunities at Belmont, not just around this idea. I did mention that space, but it's to be able to expand opportunities there, and also building alignment in terms of what we're doing around the district and aligning all high school scheduling around this idea around forward NGL and providing these guaranteed pathways for kids in each one of these spaces. And so we certainly are listening, and we'll continue to listen.
I will say that, and I'll pass it to you next, Mr. Walker. Here, I hear that piece of it. I mean, I love the concept of 7 through 12 more than I like K through 8, because I think when you get out of elementary, there's a sense of there's something different about my life. And listening to my team at Charity, us figuring out ways to do better, but that's a whole other conversation. I do wonder, because you said the kids are in one location, can you tell me why we haven't explored, similar to Stivers that has the 7 through 12, of getting them out of that one location and bringing them through the building? And my second thing of that, I love that we're thinking about concepts in the school. Again, Dunbar and Thurgood have the same black that Belmont have, and they all have the same programming according to the book that we saw last week. So as we're thinking about these type of things, and I know you guys are working with the Ford, I don't remember the rest of the
NGL.
letters. Yes, that piece of it. I don't know if we as a board have bought into the entire concept yet, but I'm hopeful that these tools that you guys are using will help us make our schools more desirable in that sense of it. And I'll echo Board Member Wick. Middle school has been a struggle for us, but there are some things that are happening at Belmont specifically. Like you're in the 7th grade, I can be in the Mighty Marching Bison because I go to Belmont and it's right here. And I think those pieces, as we continue to talk about, like, not just responding to, like, space has been an issue for a while. It's obvious that at some point, Dr. Jones, we need to build onto these buildings, especially some of those that are going up. Removing the middle school out is one solution, but it's not the only solution. And again, the reason that we have a highly educated group of thinkers who run the cabinet, who are here, is because we ask you guys to give us multiple variations of possibilities of what we can do and be successful, and not just one. So I say that piece, like the challenge to me, I want to see more before we do these type of things, and I'm happy that our committee is meeting soon to start talking about what we do first. But I also don't want us to make moves until, like, we're talking about a building change, and those type of things have to be approved at this level. And I don't want to, which I'm aware that there is information where you can't even choose 7th grade right now to go there, because I know some kids who are going to 7th grade and wasn't on the thing. So that piece of it right there, we can't remove options until the board as a unit has made a decision on this one. Go Mr. Smith, not Mr. Walker, then Mr. Smith. Go ahead.
Thank you. So for me, I think looking at it, some parents who have a 6th grader that is going into the 7th grade, and you have a 10th or 11th grader that is currently at Belmont, you want to try to have your children in the same building, because it reduces on transportation costs for that parent, after school activities. You know where all your kids are at one time. You're not really worrying about, like, if your high schooler now has to go and then provide like that extra support because mom or dad is still at work for that middle schooler, because you have those programs that are there in that one building. I think when looking at Belmont, and it's something I've said before, and it may have changed, Stivers enrollment 720 kids and they have 7 through 12. Belmont enrollment, 1,200 kids and they have 7 through 12. So at what point do you make it in again, something I said at the beginning? 1,041, too many. We have a district that continues to do equity work, which I would love to see that report of the consultant that we paid to do equity work, to see what are we actually doing, how are we making things equitable. I think Belmont as a whole, it is, like I said, it's the city of Belmont. I think the community there supports it. I think when we look at the space inside of Belmont, yeah, the district confines them to one specific area. I think at the other building, which is 7 to 12, they don't have that. They are all over the place, really. I think we just have to be better as far as what we're offering to those students. I think removing those grade levels out, how does that affect those programs of the band program, the athletic program, even the students that are involved in those after-school activities inside of those buildings? What does that say to them? We had a student today that told us why they went to school was because of ROTC. What do students go to school for at Belmont? And I think that's the conversation that should be had. I think, you know, last year, Dr. Lawrence, I was not a supporter of the change with regards to transportation. And I think it was only because we needed more information before doing something like that. Not sure of how it's working now. But then that becomes a question now with, again, looking at making another change. How does that affect transportation with this change as well? So those are my thoughts on it.
Mr. Smith?
All right. So I think when we talk about making changes, it's incumbent on us to realize when we're up here and when people are here, we're constantly making decisions based off of a mix of the now, the future, and then decisions that were made before we were here. And I think that's why sometimes you have the cause for pause to at least sit and reflect, but then there is that sweet spot of where if you do not make action, then you will not make action. And I think this is one of those situations where we talk about it. Like Mr. Lacey said, we switched over from K through 8 when he was on the board. But if you remember, the conversation around Belmont High School having 7 through 8 was when Belmont High School was being built. Kirk Stanek brought this conversation up. These are not new conversations. Kirk Stanek said that when they built Belmont, it would be likely to have 7th and 8th, and that it should. And at time, our current mayor was on the school board and was heavily pushing to have that 7th and 8th in Belmont. And when I say we're making decisions based on things that have happened, that's how we kind of got in this whole middle school thing, because when we went to K through 8, we changed the system. When we changed away from K through 8, we never looked back at the old system, and so we made decisions that went askew from the way Dayton Public Schools was. Dayton Public Schools before was you had a lot of elementary schools, which we have now. Then you had a lot of middle schools. And then you had fewer high schools. Right now we have more high schools than we do middle schools. So it creates this bottleneck where you have 6 high schools, then a small middle school piece at Belmont, a specialty middle school space that goes with a specialty high school. And so you have 3 real standalone middle schools to go try to populate the rest of our high schools. And so if you're losing these people, then we're losing this whole discussion. And that kind of is how we've got there. We got that way. We built buildings that were K through 8. We turned around and then built middle schools, and now we're trying to teach middle schoolers in rooms that were designed to have wings for kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade now. And it's like, because we make decisions and we just make them, we go and we say, to heck with it, whoever's down the road, y'all deal with it. The same way when we built all these buildings, shout out to Joe Lacey for trying to make them do the good thing. Joe Lacey, you was fighting the good fight back then. But that's what we have. We had a district that built tiny schools. And now we look at it and we're saying our schools are bursting at the seams, when in reality, if our schools were the same size as the old schools, we would have room in most of them to do some of these things. And so for us, it creates this need for me to say, let us look at the whole totality. Does that look like building new buildings? Does it look like searching after other properties? And even when we look at the current middle schools, we have 2 schools that right now that have that 7 through 12 model. For the most part, Stivers is the same way. They are on the same wing. Stivers middle schoolers are in the same wing for the most of their day. The only difference is they get to leave to do their magnets. Outside of that, So if you're a kid and you're doing piano, you're on that same floor. And Unified Arts. So if you're there, it's not this space of trying to recreate the wheel, but looking at art. How do I move these kids around? How do I find ways that these students shift around? Because right now, Belmont, there's this space. And even like we talked about, we tried to make that change, the structure of the principalship was different until we changed that. At Belmont, you had a middle school principal. At Cypress, you did not have a middle school principal. And so looking at how do we do these students justice, for me, is the bigger conversation, because we can always make quick decisions, but are they always going to be the right decisions for when we're not here anymore? And I think that happened. So if you look at, Kurt Stanek says we should have 7th through 8th in Belmont because we have a lot of kids in that community. This is what we should do. We didn't make middle school at Belmont until 2020. I only know because it was about a week or so before COVID hit, messed up my whole first year. So that's what, years of inaction, because somebody says something, someone leaves, that idea dies, no one picks it back up till years later. And that is what happens a lot of times if we do not sit back and think and then come up with plans. So I think this is a moment to really think of how do we really add to Belmont without just saying, let's move these students out, without having a full picture of where those students will go.
Is this a similar recommendation for the school program and curriculum? Like, what do you want to do with it? Like, you said all that, but what's the action?
For me, I would kick it back to have these, I think this and the next conversation and any other conversation should go to that committee, because then we can bring back to the board as a whole detailed work where we're saying, okay, these are the plans. If we chose to move here, this is what that space will look like. If we choose to keep this, this is some of the ideas that we're looking at doing. These are some of the programs that we've looked at. Like we do that work for other things. I think we should do that same work when we're talking about buildings in totality, because we take trips. People took trips to look at creating a elementary arts program. We should be able to go around and see how do we fix the programs that we have here. So I think kicking it to that committee, in my opinion, would be the best route to go, so that we're actually doing the work and not coming to the board and then the board having these discussions about going back and doing the work. Because then we put the cart before the horse.
Thank you. Ms. Ryan?
Thank you, President Goodwine. I really appreciate the ability to have this conversation here as a board. What I feel like we're missing with this item and then the item after it that we did have with item D is the student and the community and the family voices. I think, I'm in the 8th year of my board service, and I have been through some very difficult decisions. And I recognize that change is hard, and sometimes understanding that it's hard and still making that change ends in a positive and ends in a positive result and with growth. But I also really, really value the voices of the people who are highly impacted here. The fact that we had kids come, students come, and families come and talk about their reflection upon the Meadowdale JROTC program makes an impact. I am curious about the thoughts of the community in the city of Belmont, how they feel about this. I think that should be part of the discussion, knowing that sometimes difficult decisions, communities can understand through those conversations, those hard sometimes conversations, the reasons why, and they can hear the different viewpoints. And I think it's something that is relevant in the next item, discussion item as well too. Our responsibility to make the decisions that are beneficial for this district now and in the future does not go away with wanting to hear voices. But having the ability to balance that and make a measured, thoughtful decision, in my opinion, is truly dependent upon getting a full picture of the decisions in front of us. So that's all I have to say. Dr. Goodwin.
Okay, are there any comments or something?
I have,
Go ahead, Mr. Lacy.
yeah, maybe it does need more discussion. Now, yeah, I've been here for 2 changes. When I first got here, it was we had a middle school system. You were in middle school when I first got here.
It was a thing. Big deal.
But that aside, I mean, one big question for me is, are people who maybe have their kids at Wright Brothers, if they don't get there, the demand to get into Belmont so great that we're turning people down or saying you'll need to go to another school, and then they're just not going, then they're dropping out of Dayton Public and going elsewhere?
I want to say that there are lots of other moving pieces to this. I think it's good actually that this happened, and then we hear from all 7 board members, and then we go back to committee, because now I'm watching the team out there. We can hear your thoughts now, all 7 people, and then we can come back and process this and synthesize what you've asked, and then come back to the committee, and then come back and respond to your thoughts. Actually, this worked out better than I thought. Actually, that it came to the full board first, so that all 7 people are here commenting, and then back to the committee. Actually, it would have gone to the committee first and then come here, and typically it should, and we'll process that and do more of that as we move forward in the future. But this worked out great.
Can you get back to us in time to do something for next year?
Yes.
Okay.
Because a lot of things you're talking about, these pieces are already moving, but I think instead of rehashing that out now, we need to package it up in a digestible form for the board through the committee and then come back.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments or anything? I would like to say, I would be interested to follow up on Mr. Lacy's question, the amount of 6th graders who are interested in going to Belmont. I know that's not currently something. Are you guys advertising for them to be able to go there, or have you removed that?
We knew how many are going there. I don't know the exact number. I'm looking at Mindy. Do you know the number?
Got it.
We can get it to you.
Yeah, just interested in
Yep.
those families and like individuals who are looking to go there, so I know exactly what we're talking about here.
Yep.
That's a real thing. But I do want you guys to like check again. I saw someone's form, and the form did not have Belmont as an option at all on it. So I don't want you just to make assumptions on numbers. Kind of want them to be able to tell you in that piece. So if y'all can look at that. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, well, 2 things to follow. Definitely look at that, because I too have seen those things, and just the understanding that when people get information out, and then people's feelings change. I know we've had that before, where before we made any transportation change, people got notices saying their kids could no longer get a bus to certain schools. Like, those kind of things affect, to Mr. Lacy's point also, of people just leaving the district. And so I think those are 2 key things to look at, are what 6th graders possibly would be going into Belmont Middle, but then also, and I think that's kind of where you were, Mr. Lacy, like parents going into the high school as well. Where's that? Those students that would like to go to Belmont High School, but seeing, because we have the middle school, seats that are missed at the high school level because of, I think having that data too allows us, and I think those kind of data points are key when we also then tap into a Dr. Jones on his side about what does it look like to build, or when they're looking at properties around, like what do those things look like? What are those data points looking like? What are these trends telling us? Just taking pieces out, to me, is it's a big thing. It's a big thing to take pieces away. And I just want us to know what we're looking at when we're having those discussions.
Yeah, we just need to follow up and get back with you, because we are currently conducting a community survey. Ms. Clark and Ms. Goins have been working on that with PIO. We've spoken to the teachers. I've had informal conversations with kids. We just need to package it up and bring it back to the committee and go from there.
And I'm going to say on that one too, I was just going to ask, and if any of the teachers at Belmont are watching tonight's video, would love your thoughts. Because if there's no 7th and 8th grade, I'm going to imagine if you're a 7th and 8th grade instructor, you won't be there. So talk to us a little bit about that. I want to know, is it Belmont or our leave? Am I willing to go to other schools?
So,
I mean, those.
so the DA
Whoa,
president
whoa,
was.
whoa, whoa, it's not your turn.
Come on.
Calm down. Tell him again. Tell him the rule. But yeah, that piece, right. That piece right there, which I think I'm gonna imagine it's no more than 2 7th grade and 2 8th grade classes maybe there at that piece. So that's 4. It's no more than 60. I have no idea. It's either, I think it's less than 10 teachers. But with that piece of it, I would ask those individuals. I mean, you're a part of this equation too when it comes to it. You're part of the community that has been there. You're part of the community as a whole. In addition to wanting to know not only our students and our parents, I want to know our staff, because middle school is a hard place for us to feel right now, and we are working. Middle school is just hard, period. It's a lot going on at middle school with how you change as a person. So that's a piece right there. I know I see you getting froggy, not time to leave yet. But that piece right there, so if there are teachers who want to reach out and tell us like this, like we're a board that does value feedback, please send it to us. Now it's your turn.
We met with the middle school teachers and some high school teachers with the union president. And so we've had direct communication with them. We are aware, HR was there as well. We are aware of how many teachers it would affect and what their options are. So again, we'll package it all up and bring it back.
How did that meeting go? Were they happy? Were they like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing that ever happened? Or I can't believe you're doing this to me?
It was not, I can't believe you're doing this to me. It was not that.
Was it, I'm happy? Wasn't that either?
Let's get past that.
I know. What's the next one? Was it like,
You know, what I took from the meeting was just they like they were taking it all in. You know, it did not look like, dag, this is what you, I can't believe you're doing this to me. And in fact, typically when that happens, you all get an immediate reaction by multiple people. They just were listening. And I received some feedback on the way out, and so did the rest of the team. So again, we started that process. We'll push through it and get to the committee and get back with you.
have they been transferred already?
No.
Okay. It's Dr. Bailey, Mr. Smith, Mr. Walker.
My question is, so how would that affect transportation? With transport, like if you took them out of the Belmont and they're going to the other two schools, how is that going to affect transportation, or will it?
Crazy.
They become part of a system where they get on other routes. And I noticed, kudos to transportation, there's about 7 or 8 bus drivers on there this time. So, yeah, they just become part of the transportation system. We pick them up.
Hey, as a person who drove a route in the last 2 weeks, it's crazy right now. So, I'm trying to tell you, man, you go clear across town, like to Mr. Walker's point on the Northwest system, we should have thought a little bit more about that. Because
that actually is not, that's not so much Northwest.
Or Northeast, my bad.
North, south.
Yeah, it's
She
not
went to-
Northwest.
she went to Colonel
Whatever
It's
it
not-
is.
that
Until
is-
you hop on the bus and ride with
Yeah,
somebody
that-
or drive, and you go like, how did I end up by Clayton?
Yeah,
and now I'm on Riverside.
Yeah,
this
that's
is wild. So
yeah, that's a conversation we should go to routing and have, because that's not the north south. That's another question.
but yeah,
Alright.
it's wild right now. It was you and it was over here.
All right, so last one to kick back to that committee, I would ask Dr. Lawrence, currently, do we have any students at Belmont Middle School taking high school courses?
Yes.
And I think that is also a space to look at when we're talking about ways to move these students, especially understanding that we have across our district, but Belmont was pretty much at the forefront of this, at having such an international flavor in our building, understanding that this creates space down the road for these student schedules if they're in there taking, say, for instance, high school language classes, 7th, 8th grade, or having these possibilities to take something, because that's one of the things that we're able to do as a district, is offer these high school courses to middle schools. So I think as we look at that and finding ways to try to possibly incorporate that kind of piece of how we're making the city of Belmont grow by really getting them in those spaces. I see your brain thinking. That's what happens when you go to Meadowdale.
I should clarify that. Yeah, they do, and we have lots of middle schoolers taking high school classes. Even schools, kids who are not at 7 through 12. I mean, they're taking.
Right.
I mean, algebra one considered high school.
Right. Okay, appreciate that.
Mr. Walker.
So I'm just curious. So currently with transportation, it is 1.5 miles and above receive transportation, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm a sixth grader and I'm originally like planning to go to Belmont, and now that it's changed and I'm no longer going to Belmont for seventh grade, my parents counted on transportation for that. Now, as a parent, that may change and I have to look at other alternatives.
That is a possibility.
Okay. So I think that goes to my point of when we have our conversations, and I'm like, if it's, how you say, taking it back to the team, you know, that A to C, we can just look at B. I think we'll be good.
All right, any more comments on this one? So I will say, for us to change the structure of the school, we have to vote on it. So at this time, we haven't voted yet on the structure because we didn't get a recommendation to vote on the structure of it. So as we're hoping you guys take this to the committee. I know there's a meeting scheduled soon on that one, and we can start those things. But until we make a vote, the actual structure doesn't change of the school. That requires a board vote. All right, next one. I'm sure it's gonna echo similar things about more information, but Dr. Lawrence, tell us a little bit about the addition of middle school to Rivers Edge Montessori.
Have already met with the parents, paras, had conversations with the community. There's a survey currently out. Sixth grade students typically leave Rivers Edge and they head to STEM school, DECA, and now Chaminade will be starting 7-12. So in an attempt to avert that, in addition to the parents, this has been an interest in that for a long time. We did have operations involved, and we do have room for, it's not called 7th and 8th in Montessori, but I'll say that for the sake of the general public, 7th and 8th graders in Montessori, starting with the rising 6th graders. So,
All right, floor is open to comments. Are you ready? Are you Go ahead, Mr. Walker. Mr. Lacy raised this.
I mean, is there room?
Yeah.
Real quick.
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Rivers Edge's student capacity is 550, and today we are at, just so people got numbers, 544. So, Mr. Smith.
Well,
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
No,
Mr. Lacy. Mr.
still
Lacy.
going. My
Mr.
bad,
Lacy
Mr.
was going.
Well, Dr. Lawrence was going to respond to that.
I was going to say that we, so we have so those capacity numbers, and we'll send you the list when we talk about operations. There's three different numbers, and so one is capacity to build, one is capacity based on attendance, and there's a third number, a third column. Actually, I sent that information to Ms. Reiner, so we will send it to the full board. But we did get operations to work with us to determine that there was capacity, and that is the report I got back. They work with the academics to do so.
That's all I have. Yeah.
Walker can go first.
Can I ask a question for you? Dr. Jones, can you confirm this information that we're talking about right now? On the capacity piece? He said he worked with you guys. Look at him with the spreadsheet up. Love it when he come with a spreadsheet.
There's nothing on his screen.
He doing something else.
He watching the game.
Ohio building code occupancy at Rivers Edge is 750.
Okay.
And then Belmont is 1,100 and Stivers 1,000. Wait a minute, let me check that real quick. Yeah, Stivers is 1,000.
What was Belmont?
1,100.
How many did that Belmont?
1,041.
It's jumping over there.
We got space. I thought y'all.
And again, that's the Ohio building code occupancy.
So what's the
Like if
difference?
you take into account like gifted classrooms and
Do we have those?
special needs, we do.
Can you take into
that
account all
could-
the things we have and tell us what our capacity is?
I will do that for you. Yes, ma'am.
Can you do it right now on the spot?
No.
That's why we be saying your people at.
Joe Lacy could have did it on the spot. He a number whiz. He would have brought out his calculator.
Look, Chief
and
Jones
everything.
had you.
You know. Just say no.
Say no.
No.
She told him to sit down. Like we went to
Like, say
Patterson.
no.
Sit down.
That is a Patterson thing.
It's a Patterson thing.
Listen. Patterson's a great school.
Bring that back for ratification.
If you could give us that though, kind of with the other variables, so we know the true capacity numbers for us, that would be great. Mr. Smith.
Walker.
my bad, Mr.
Walker had it.
So I know this conversation as far as DECA, losing students to DECA and things like that. For me, we're already in March. If a parent is looking at where their kid is going for middle school, I've already made up my mind of where they're going because no opportunities currently exist for that type of thing. CJ adding middle school, again, CJ is a place that, I mean, those are essentially vouchers now going to CJ. And again, even if you say, for me, adding middle school at River's Edge, okay, what does that say about the students at Eastmont? What does it say about the students at Horseman? What does that say now about the population at Stivers? Because generally the students that do stay here typically go to a Stivers or something like that. I don't know if they go anywhere else, but that's generally where they're looking to go because of the enrichment they've received at River's Edge and what leads them to Stivers and things like that. Looking at River's Edge, space-wise and things like that, being inside of River's Edge, I generally wanted to see where this extra space is to add more to it. I think River's Edge has a lot going on, and it's a great program and things like that. I just personally don't see where 7th and 8th grade will fit. And yeah,
I think that's why we had the conversation. We certainly can take you on that journey. And to your point, parents, teachers, principal, but really parents said, if you give us the option to stay here, we'll stay. We don't want to make that decision.
Can I just say something about that?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Typically, River's Edge parents come out and speak whenever there's something regarding River's Edge.
They do. They like students parents.
Yeah, so I think if that's a conversation and they support it, I think that works for me in your favor and things like that.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
I actually have a different stance on this than the last one. For me, I look at River's Edge and it's this little tucked off pocket where I don't know if you've ever been there for pickup. It is hellacious over there trying to pick up them kids at River's Edge. It's crazy over there. So that's already an issue for me. There's barely any green space over there. Then where I cannot avoid having this discussion is just the difference of the conversation that we just had, where we had in one space, we need to talk to people, we need to talk to people, we need to talk to people. At River's Edge, we have talked to people, we have talked to people, we have talked to people. I have a great issue with that because around our city, we look at that and we say, we're going to listen to River's Edge parents and we'll listen to Stivers parents. So it's saying, there are parents, if you ask parents at Eastmont, if given the chance, would you want your kid to stay at Eastmont? They would say, yes, we'll stay at Eastmont because they've been there from pre-K through 6 and they love it there. I do not like that space where we get into of, well, we need to add this because those kids are then leaving us to go outside of here. They're leaving us to go outside of here because they view these other middle school options as better than the middle school options we currently have. And if we continually just do that space of adding on for these people here, what do we do for the Wagaman, the E.J. Brown, the Wright brothers? Because it's like we're having, okay, we don't want the River's Edge parents to take their kids out of the district, but we're not thinking about those parents that are taking vouchers because they don't want their kids to go to Wagaman, so they'll get their kids out of there. We're not having those same conversations, and I think as a district, until we do that, we will never get to the root. Because unless we're saying, okay, we're opening River's Edge as a whole middle school space where everybody's applying to get over there, which I do not think this would be a caveat for a certain group at one school. That does not change the fact also that what happens when they get done with their time at River's Edge and there's no River's Edge High School for them to go to, and then they just moved off their time going to CJ or the STEM school or a DECA by 2 years. Unless we up what we already have, we will continue to lose people. And so I think that I do not like the conversation around trying to address a problem by avoiding the problem. And the problem is what we do currently at Wagaman, E.J. Brown, Wright brothers. That's the issue. The issue isn't giving a school the opportunity to stay at that school. This conversation is far different than the conversation of Charity. Charity was a school where it is already a specialty school that had really low numbers and trying to provide assistance there. This is a different kind of conversation, and I think to Mr. Walker's point of what happens when Kent parents go, okay, well, we want a middle school? Or Horace Mann says, well, we want a middle school. Or Valerie says, well, can we get a middle school? Because I just don't see the number, I don't see the value add of keeping on the sixth graders at River's Edge, which we already know they're not all gonna stay. Some are still going to leave to some of these other schools, but as a person who has been there, some of the issues are internal and we have to fix that. I've been to a middle school informational at River's Edge before. They were told by people who work for us about how to go to Stivers, and that is it. I asked, because I said, okay, well, what if a kid doesn't go into Stivers? Well, there's DECA, where there's the STEM school, where there's this and that. And those are people who are internal in our spaces. So that shows the mentality that we are already exhibiting to our parents, so why would they not think of that? So we have people at the sixth grade level who are going, there's no way I'm sending my kid to Wright Brothers, E.J. Brown, or Wagaman. And to me, the issue is, well, then how do we increase the middle school offerings, or how do we increase what we're doing? In this space, I would much rather us try to add a standalone middle school option than trying to create a middle school option, because then at least that way we can add programming in, and now you're taking the burden off of some of the things that are going. And as an aside, which I'll yield my time after that, I would much rather us spend the time to dive into the alternative school that we have talked about before, because that is also a resource for the students that we currently serve. And it's a higher number of students that we currently serve if we look at the impact of what's going on in some of these buildings, where if you look at a Wagaman, you look at an E.J. Brown, you look at a Wright Brothers, where you talk to teachers and you talk to administrators, where they have amazing students, they have amazing teachers, and then they have to deal with the byproduct of what goes on in Dayton, Ohio, where I would gather people don't understand that space of being in a middle school, you have 20-some kids, 7 of them are from group homes. Another 3 of them are coming from homes where there's a lot of things going on, and then some have some issues that aren't currently being addressed in a multitude of ways. I would much rather us look at how to help those students, and then by doing that, we would help those teachers and administrators and other students in those buildings. So that is my thoughts on the whole thing. Sorry for taking so long, but I had to get that out.
I'll just say that as the chair of the committee, we'll be back to have the conversation. We've had many of those conversations. We would be us. We have not forsaken the rest of the district. The we will be us, the team. We've not given up on the middle schools. We have increased programming in the middle schools dramatically. There are plans to continue to do that, but that's a conversation. As the chair of the school programming and curriculum committee, we can dive deep with you to have that conversation.
To be clear, Board Member Smith is the chair of that committee. I know. Board Member Walker asked me, he was like, who the chair? Because you said as the chair. You
Then he
say
tried to use that proverbial we on me, like.
Yeah, he did.
Wrong with this guy?
I had a couple more thoughts just to add to that one. So with middle school in particular, there are a couple things that I wonder about, and it comes to certified teachers. When we get to secondary, it takes a dip. It takes a dip real hard for us in that piece of it on that one. And although I think the Montessori school will probably be more attractive, I've never actually really heard how successful Montessori method is in 7th and 8th grade, because we've never had it. So I would be interested to learn, is that really an effective way for individuals, as well as where do we attract Montessori teachers at? I do have a question about our other Montessori school, if that's even still happening in that piece of it, because I rarely hear about the one that's at the international school. And that's a piece of it there. Like, I know they currently go K through 6 here. Is that still? No, that's the
other half of the
half of it is supposed to be Montessori, but we rarely hear about it in that piece. Is that still happening? How's the teaching pool going for it?
Their teachers are they're excellent. I don't know if they're Montessori trained, but I'm in the classrooms. They're phenomenal. I have to ask Dr. Davis if they're Montessori trained, but from an instructional pedagogy standpoint, they're spectacular.
If they're not Montessori trained, is it really a Montessori school? Oh, okay, look.
Mind your business, that's all. Just mind your business.
Mind your business, like some people over there. Okay, but that piece right there, because I mean, we are actively trying to do things to get more certified teachers. And as I've said on many occasions to you yourself and to members on your team, I don't think any of your programs have a chance to be successful if we don't have the workforce to make them successful. And our long-term subs do the best that they can, and they try to keep us afloat. But the reality is, we need the other pieces for us to be successful in that way. So I am interested in adding this to that piece. What does that pull from another place already that's already struggling with certified teachers in that piece of it? That's one piece for me. On that one, I think also too, I mean, I'm gonna echo, if any of y'all energy went anywhere, I'm gonna echo Board Member Smith. It's the alternative school, because I think our workforce is stressed. They're stressed out, and they're stressed to the max about a concept we've been talking about for 2 years now, which I hear Dr. Jones has been doing their part to get the building together. I hope the plan that you guys gave us a year ago, there's been some refining to it to see what's ever possible, because the teacher workforce is it's necessary for the many ideas that you guys bring forward to be successful. Because I don't want to go another year and hear that half of our secondary schools is coming. Just hold on, keep hoping it's gonna happen. I want to see those type of things come to fruition for us in that piece of it. I'm hopeful. I mean, I believe we're gonna bring it up. I'm gonna put it on the board for the April meeting for us to just vote if we want that to happen or not, so we can actually give some clear directions, because we've talked about it, we've heard things, and at this point as a group we have to make decisions. And I will say to the middle school piece, like, if this, again, more conversation is definitely needed on it. I'm not against it, because I mean, it may be something that's beneficial to us in that piece of it. I'm still a proponent more so of 7 through 12 than I am of K through 8. And as we talk about, you talked about these communities that we talk about right now, I also would like to see you guys explore adding middle school to Meadowdale, particularly because when you leave Valerie, there's no gap. There's no place for you to go but to a charter school or to another side of town. Unless you are female, you can go to Charity, which is down the street. But that's a real gap point for us there. And Meadowdale is our lowest populated school, so it has the space. And again, we talk about these programs and that connected piece. Like, we have seen success at Stuyvesant, we've seen success at Belmont, the two places that we have 7 through 12. But as you guys are exploring, I ask too that you explore a middle school. But again, in our footprint in the Harrison Township area, we don't have a strong middle school footprint, because we only have one school that's gender specific in that piece of it. So I would ask to add that to you guys for you to look at as you are exploring piece across the board. Hey, Ryan, why's my mic always broke?
Well, nobody trying to hear.
Right. Ryan just put me on static. You see how he did? He was like, static it up. So go ahead, Board Member Reiner.
Thank you, President Goodwine. I welcome the voices of the Rivers Edge community, just like I welcome the voices of the Belmont community and the voices of the JROTC community. I think it's a valuable part of who we are and what we do here. I will say, how I feel about this isn't necessarily the way in which the direction in which I feel we should go. So I just want to say that. But I don't feel right now, I don't have a full understanding right now of what the right direction is. But I will say that when I started sending my oldest child to Rivers Edge back in 2008, it was Franklin back then, and there were a couple Montessori schools, and it went up to 8th grade. It went up to 8th grade for a long time. And I think it was just a year, maybe 2 at the most, that it went up to 8th grade before it switched back down to up to 6. And I mean, that change was hard, I remember. Although I will say, the difference between those teeny tiny little 3-year-olds and the very tall 7th and 8th graders, like, terrified me as a parent of a kindergartner who is, his first time in school. Now, as a parent of older kids, I realize that, like, the size doesn't matter. They're still students and kids, and they're excited to learn. But I welcome the discussion from staff and administration and the families. I think there's a possibility there. But I also will echo, this might be something we might want to explore in other schools, extending the elementary. Dr. Goodwine, if you're interested in Montessori schools that go past sixth grade. Cincinnati Public has multiple Montessori schools that go all the way through 12th grade. If you wanted to look towards a system that does that, pretty close to here. And that's all I have.
Thank you. I have one more thing to add for you. Some feedback I got from the Charity Adams Middle School children, which I think you guys should talk to them about how they feel. They don't feel necessarily a big difference of being in middle school. And if we do ultimately go in this way, I think that feedback would be very valuable to another school if a middle school is added to an elementary. Definitely talk to some kids that have a lot of thoughts on how they would want middle school to feel, even though they're in the same building that they were in elementary. So I would ask for you guys to talk to them on that piece too. Go ahead, Board Member Smith.
So, my request would be that we take the same energy that we ask to talk to communities when we think of making changes. We should talk to them about the changes they want to see around the district, period. The same way that we can talk to, I would want to hear from a Belmont parent or a Rivers Edge parent. I want to hear from a Kemp parent who we're not talking about adding anything to Kemp, but I want to know, hey, why is it that you took your kid from Kemp and then took them to the STEM school? Because I think that's just as valuable, maybe more valuable. Because so I think putting that piece and really putting a focus onto some of the things that we talk about. A key piece of that was looking at the conversation that we had around the non-enrolled athlete piece. A lot of people let us know loud and clear in different spaces, I sent my kid to this school for this reason. Even though I want my kid to play sports over at Dayton Public, I want my kid to even be involved in some activities there, I sent my kid to this school because there was something I did not feel comfortable with over there with you guys. That is a real discussion and is way more important to me than talking to people at certain schools. Because if I look across the landscape of all of our elementary schools, there are certain feeders. If I look at the middle schools, there are certain feeders. If you talk to some school kids and you ask them at the 8th grade level, what school are you going to next year? And these are our kids. They're either, I might go to Ponens, but if I don't go to Ponens, I'm probably going to Northridge, or I'm probably going to Fairmont. I'm probably going to Northmont. I'm thinking about going to Horizon. That is where we need to get to, and having those discussions of what is it you need to see? What is it? Is it a piece? Because some of the choices that they make aren't even rooted in the real academic pieces, because I look at our high schools and I see the great teachers we have. I see the programming we have, and I will put it up there against a lot of these programmings out here. So then are we talking, is it a marketing piece? Is it a culture piece? It is a conversation piece that people have been having out there. That is the real thing. And like I look at this building, I look at Rivers Edge, it is hard to do some of the things as we grow in this time. I mean, it's a little pocket. It's a pocket, which once again, it goes to those things. We didn't make those decisions to put that school right there on the corner. Other people did. It's here nor there. But those are real things. Joe Lacey ain't going around for that. Joe Lacey kept some things.
He was a fighter.
But I think that is, for me, I would want that energy, because we have to really dive into some of these things. And then we also have to figure out, how do we have the conversation with community, but couch it with the expertise of our staff, because you cannot let one always dictate the other either. I mean, that is a real thing. Somebody could tell you that we could have a group of people come in here and say, we want candy for lunch. And if 100 people say it does not mean that we will then turn over and do candy for lunch, because we have experts that will tell you that is not a healthy alternative. So sometimes we have to really have this discussion of, okay, I heard from people, I heard from parents, I heard from students, but let me now hear from my experts as well. Let me hear from my staff as well. Because what we cannot always do is go, okay, we're going to go the way the parents and students told us. Because that is also what this district has done before, is we've went from what people pressure us, and we create these spaces. We go from what we're pressured to do by outside forces. We go from pressure pieces. That is why you don't have a Patterson, because people told the district, we don't want kids downtown. We didn't talk to our people about that. It was, okay, well, if they don't want them downtown, let's get them up out of here. We didn't talk about that. People did not want to send their kids to Colonel White. We didn't figure out that part. Let's just close Colonel White. We have to get away from this space of letting people dictate things on either side. It has to be a collection together about what is best for our community and what it looks like moving forward. I mean, so I even look at that when we talk about our studies. Yes, we say, hey, what do students want to do? I want to marry that with what do the experts say is coming down the pipeline for our region? Because if we're letting students then tell us we want to learn X, Y, Z, and we only go with that, and then we're missing out on what's coming down the road. But then we also need to find something that keeps students engaged while we try to teach them what is coming down the road. And that is the beauty of some of our buildings where students love to come into. That is the beauty of a Stivers, where kids, not of our kids or Stivers are going to go on and play the cello for a career. But playing that cello gets them excited about coming to school every day, so maybe I can sneak in some math and science and history and things like that. So when we're having these conversations, I want us to go and talk to the Louise Troy parents as well. I want us to go talk to Kent parents as well. I want us to talk to Eastmont parents as well, because that conversation may be different. You might have a conversation that says, let us build on or keep 7th and 8th at the River's Edge, but then what if you talk to other people and they say, you know what, if there was just any other Dayton Public Middle School, I'd go there. And now we're talking about, okay, these people want a building. Now that's a whole different discussion. So I would ask for us, one, to really look at what are we doing about the alternative school, because we're having these discussions, but we talked about the alternative school last year and we haven't had any follow-up heavily on that as a board. But then secondly, what does it look like to talk to all of these 4th, 5th, 6th grade parents to be ready to say, hey, what do we need to do as a district to keep you in our district in 2 years? Because that is going to be a huge thing as well. That's it.
Got a lot to say down here tonight.
It's a lot, man.
You got another
A lot
speech in
going
you?
on. I'm done for the day, man.
Okay. I would ask too, as we go into those committee talks, because I think currently, correct me if I'm incorrect, we stop accepting kids into River's Edge. Is it after 3rd or 4th grade?
No, it's probably, when do we stop accepting kids in the River's Edge?
And my follow-up question is, could other kids come to the 7th grade if they wanted to come?
We'll explore it.
We typically take students up through 3rd grade, and then if they have Montessori experience, then we add them in 4, 5, and 6.
Will we take them in 7th grade?
So for our recommendation for 7th grade, we did attend, we said that we would just roll up our 6th graders to 7th grade. For that capacity, we do have 2 classrooms on the top floor that we would use for that. We did have a parent meeting that was very successful. A lot of parents were very interested in that. They said that they would reconsider their decision to go someplace else to attend River's Edge for another year. The other piece of that is that they asked a lot of questions. We were able to answer those questions. And we also had a lot of feedback on a parent square post as well in favor of having 7th grade at River's Edge for another school year.
All right. Thank you. So that's a maybe we'll accept 7th grade or no?
No, we were just planning on rolling up the 6th
So just the
graders.
39 kids that's in 6th grade right now are the opening piece that we could possibly open this up to? Just the current, it's like 39 kids?
We
or
were just
something?
rolling those kids up.
Okay.
But I'm sure that we could have discussions about something else.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
I'm just curious, Chief Spurlock, or I don't know, Mr. Simmons or what. Middle school usually has its 6th or 7th periods, right? 7 period. So if they're only going to have 2 classroom, like what would that schedule consist of? Just swapping back and forth?
So when you look at Montessori programming, we talked about that. So they would have, between the 2 teachers, they would do that. We've done that when we had 7th and 8th grade. In that classroom, we switched between the 2 classrooms. We would actually add an extra special in elective. Then we were kind of talking about what that looked like at the middle school level to give them something else. And additionally, we needed another special at River's Edge as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments feel like we hit this one. So similar to the conversation we had before, as Chief Spurlock, Dr. Lawrence have stated that other our parents have feedback on this. Feel free to send it to us. Feel free to come talk to us. Feel free to provide us with that information as we explore this opportunity as well. And I will echo again, to change the structure of the school, we have to vote on it. So at this time, we have not voted on it yet because we haven't received a formal recommendation. So it is, at this moment, we haven't done. We're just exploring the conversation on that piece of it. All right, let's go to comments. Mr. Lacy.
The Finance Committee met Thursday and went over the finances and found them in good order. And I'm sorry I missed the close. You'll be able to comment on the close.
Yes. I will.
Great. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Wick.
In the spirit of time, continue to thank everybody for all their work. I have no updates, but thank you. Thanks to my colleagues, too.
Ms. Reiner.
Thank you, President Goodwine. Also, in the spirit of time, just a couple of things. I testified in the House Education Committee in regards to House Bill 96, which is the House Biennial Budget Bill. A large percentage of what the state does with the budget is in the interest of public education. And I submitted my testimony. I would be happy to share that with the public. I just realized that I don't have it under my name, but I will bring it up next month if people are curious as to what some of the priorities are that we have in terms of public education funding. The engagement committee met. We are looking forward to supporting each school having a PTO this year. This is a lot of work that takes a lot of time and effort. This is where I will ask community members to step up. We cannot do this. The PTOs are run by parents and by volunteers. It is not run by the principals. It is not run by the teachers. We need the parents to step up. Please contact me if you have questions, and I will point you to the correct person. And then today I attended the state legislative conference out in Columbus, also in regards to House Bill 96. Yeah, that's all I have.
Mr. Smith.
Just want to shout out all the people that came out today. I appreciated it. I love being in this space because it means we have parents and students and everything with us here. So we're heading on to that home stretch. It's the dog days of spring. Everybody hang tight. Make sure you're checking on each other. And we got this. Appreciate y'all. Keep the main thing the main thing.
Mr. Walker.
Thank you. So for me, the after-school activities committee did meet. I charged Chief Sheehy with something to try to create, so we'll get back to that, our meeting this month. And then attended the, I think I had numerous invitations for Read Across America. I think I did 4 or 5. And then this weekend, I will be the keynote speaker at the Meadowdale ROTC's Military Ball. So looking forward to that. And then lastly, if my colleague, Ms. Reiner, said currently it is budget season in the state, so please pay attention to that. But I also want to just put out there that in the Senate, Senate Bill 113 currently it had its first hearing, and that is a bill that will basically prohibit DEI inside of public education. So please pay attention to that bill as well. Thank you.
Dr. Bailey.
I'd just like to say I thank everybody that came out today to speak and say good job to everybody who's working hard. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hamilton. She back there.
I thought Chief Dooley was going to take the mic.
I see you and Stacy matching today, too. I like that.
I know it's been a long evening, so I look forward to being brief. I just wanted to say that I'm really excited that we got a chance to see so many students and staff members acknowledged in such a public fashion. I think that this is amazing that we take care to celebrate together as a community. And so in lieu of that, I wanted to make sure to formally introduce someone that I've added to the team, through your all's approval, and that's Tina Cornett. Tina, if you just want to wave. She is our new internal audit executive secretary, and she has a wealth of experience from not only project management and compliance experience and exposure, but then also, of course, with administrative experience as well. And she's already been able to help out with some special projects, including a risk assessment questionnaire, which has already been sent out to staff. And I'm really excited to see the results of that questionnaire. So I just want to say thank you and excited for Tina to be a part of the team.
Thank you. Dr. Jones? What you need the laptop for closing comments?
Got about a 2-page, no, for the sake of brevity, I will not go into extreme detail, but I just wanted to share with the board and the community in general that we are very excited about engaging in the work of changing culture within our transportation department. We are building a strategic plan that is based on the voices of our transportation staff. We sat down with them and we beckoned for all of the struggles and frustrations that they experienced while working in transportation, and I believe they were very candid. Yes, very candid. And so we're going to utilize that data to develop a strategic plan of action. Our next step is to actually, Brandon, Mr. Calhoun has been working with elementary and secondary leaders to gather groups of students to have conversations about not only transportation, but how they experience operations in general. So we have a captive audience and we can use their data for strategic plans that we're going to build later. Then we're going to go to the community, do the same thing. And then in phase 2, so that's part 1A, 1B, 1C, listening sessions. In phase 2, we're going to go back to the drivers and share all of the data that we've gathered and have them inform us or collaborate with us in terms of sharing or building strategic plans and action steps, suggestions to what the strategic plan should look like. Again, this is all based on their voices. We'll create that strategic plan, identify how it aligns with the district academic action plan, and then we'll share the final plan with the transportation staff and say, hey, look, did we get this right? Can you add value to what we developed? And then the next step will be to bring it to you and present our strategic action plan. You answered some of the questions, yes. You were there, of course.
This is not Q&A to the audience, Dr. Jones.
I'm sorry.
Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones, if you entertain people asking questions, they'll keep doing it.
I will sit down.
But you can go over there and talk to him personally if you want to. Thank you. Right, this is not it. We have order. Madam Treasurer.
Today, we had our post-audit meeting, and our financial audit came clean, which is unmodified opinion. The auditor's audit, the accuracy of the financial statements, internal control, and compliance. We received unmodified opinion on all 3 parts of the audit. No citation, no finding, nothing. These are the lists. Financial statements, type of auditor's report issued, unmodified. Internal control over financial reporting, material weakness identified, nothing. A significant deficiency in compliance and material weakness, nothing noted. Non-compliance in material to financial statements, noted, nothing. Federal awards, internal control over major programs, material weakness identified, no, nothing. Significant deficiency identified, not considered to be material, nothing noted. Type of auditors reported issues on this report, unmodified. Any audit findings that are required to be reported in accordance with 2 CFR 251, no. auditee qualified as low-risk auditee. Yes, this is a major part. That means we are low-risk auditees, and that means the auditors don't have to audit 50% or more than 50%. In addition, because of the financials and budgetary improvements, our rating will stay A, or it will be upgraded. We will continue to work very hard to maintain this trend of excellence in the future. These accomplishments could not have happened without the hard working of the treasurer's team, the support of the board, and the district. Thank you, team. Yes, you are the best as always.
Thank you. How many years have you had? What's your streak right now? How many clean audits?
Oh, 4 years.
Four
This
Pete's
is-
out here.
Yeah.
We better than the Kansas City Chiefs. Dr. Lawrence.
Hey, to my team, let's continue to move forward, and yeah, we'll just continue to move forward and get the work done. And Eva Lawrence, my mom, I love you, and Ann Robinson, my aunt, back at you. I'll see you 2 Saturdays from now for dinner, and get ready for convocation. We got your seats ready.
What y'all having for dinner? Man.
I'll be in D.C. the Saturday at the Council of Great City Schools, so next Saturday.
All right.
I thought y'all had a duo thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all presenting together or something like that, I heard.
Okay, y'all can talk after this. Board Member Smith, you had a follow-up?
Yes, I did, and talking with, I don't even know what to call them now, because I don't want the people up there to take away our stuff, but they used to be engagement and inclusion. But talking with that, yeah, with their team, they still have not been able to see any movement on those positions. They're currently now at, I think, 7 total guys throughout the whole district, whereas they had more than that before, and they're still waiting to get a posting up for one of the life coaches for the young ladies of the district. And after meeting with all of them and their engagement group, told them I would bring it back to report on it. That was it.
Thank you. So thank you for everyone who has stayed with us on this long journey, but it was a fun time. First, to the PIO team, you got 2 boxes of pizza back here. You know everybody in the room is hungry. Y'all could have offered somebody a slice. Just saying. Everybody a slice. Maybe next time get squares, divvy it up. That's at least 24 slices we could have shared as a team. We got to work on teamwork. That wasn't very customer service of you guys not to share that with us. Right. Right. Second, this weekend I got to attend the Math Olympics, and I also got to attend the cheerleading competition. Always a great job that our team is doing. You know, I always have tips on how it could be more exciting, but I do appreciate always seeing our kids out there, and I'm going to share every single one of those tips of how we can make the Math Olympics more exciting for the viewer, because the individuals, they're doing some real intense math the entire time that they're, so they're not thinking about the viewer. But the watcher, it was a bit long going like, all right, did you win? You got it, so good. But I do appreciate the team and everything they did to put into that one. The shout out to the athletics team and the cheerleading competition. This is our 2nd year, and it continues to be a treat that people look forward to enjoying. If you did not see, being a cheerleader, and if you win, you get the biggest trophy in the district, because the thing is taller than I am. And I appreciate that the majority of our team, it is saying something, man, I'm 4'11" and a half, baby, don't come for me. But I do appreciate that we have found a way to give our teams that do not go to competitions outside of the district a way to compete each year. But I am hopeful that we'll see more of them go to competitions outside of here. I did have some conversations with individuals as I visited a couple schools over the past couple weeks, and one thing that I said I would bring back is us actually discussing the building sub concept that we used to have that kind of went away. Definitely worth a conversation of having, because that familiarity of that individual being in the building and being able to serve in that piece is probably good for rapport with our kids. So, Dr. Lawrence, if we can look into that concept of building a building sub, not multiple building subs, for some of our schools, similar, something that we've had before, that would be great. Let's see, other than that, every committee that I am on, that I chair, we met. We did stuff, it was a time. It's great. There are minutes and some places for it. If you want to come see them, feel free to come. Every other meeting that I've had outside of here, we met. We keep doing that. It's a thing. I have nothing to report in detail on it. I do believe that I'm doing something at Edison tomorrow. I have no idea what it is.
Speech contest.
I am doing an introduction at a speech contest for Edison tomorrow, so thank you for, is this your time? You had your time. So I do appreciate administrators when you do reach out to Ms. Kidd and Ms. Guerin, because that is something that we should do as your elected officials, is show up and show our support when we are able to and our schedule can make that accommodation. Other than that, that is kind of everything we have going on in the district. Again, I thank everyone who joined today's conversation. I do hope that you continue to connect with us because, again, not only do we listen to our team here, we listen to our teams in the community because you guys are important for us to make decisions. And as we talk about schools, I want us to make sure not only do we think about the instructional piece of it, but we think about the transportation, we think about the after-school programming, we think about athletics, we think about every component that makes a school a school. With that, pursuant to section 121.22G2 of the Ohio Revised Code, I move that this board goes into executive session. This meeting is being held to consider the employment of a public employee. Do I have a second? Second. No attorney. Any questions on the motion? Moved by Dr. Goodwine, second by Mr. Smith. It was aggressive, so that was you.
President Goodwine,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Shall we go?